Hello, Editing Red here. So I'm on a newish setup right now, and on this recording I had a problem that I thought I had fixed, and it turns out I had not. Fixed it now, but not last Sunday. So my audio today will be bad. There are a few times where it's particularly rough, but it's mostly like audible, right? You can tell what I'm saying. I'm obviously not happy about it. It's why this episode is late, but it's the best we've got. Sorry about that. But I hope you enjoy the episode anyway. It's a big one. Bye for now. Hello everyone, you are listening to Ultra Q, episode 81. My name is Red, I'm joined by Mel.
Hey everyone, I'm submitting my script for Ultraman Taro this week. Oops, accidentally sent twice. I guess we have like this two of the same episode in a row, basically.
Mm-hmm.
RIP. Anyway.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. Also joined by Brad.
Oh, look at the pretty flowers. I'm going to pick the... Oh, no! I'm exploding! Ah!
I forgot which episode this was based off.
Dear listeners, it might be November, but I think I hear a curious sound. It's the sound of fireworks in bloom, the longing cries of cicadas, wedding bells, gunshots, and the celebration of big game hunters as they kill a giant teddy bear. That's right, listeners. It's summer here on Ultra Q. The sun is high in the sky. What are you doing with your special Ultra Q summer?
Making children upset is my answer.
We are making children very upset.
When I think of summer, I think of miserable heat.
I do also think of miserable heat. I am very much winter oriented. What used to happen was I was a child and I would be like, oh, it's too hot. And then, an adult would tell me, but when winter comes, you'll be like, oh, it's too cold. And I'd be like, no, I will never say that. What are you talking about?
I think you've said this before.
I have probably said this before on the podcast. It sticks.
For me,
yeah.
Where I live, I simply cannot also be a winter person.
I see.
Same.
Well, true. British winter is mild.
Here's my thing. I liked winter until I had adult responsibilities and had to deal with the snow as adults do.
I don't deal with snow as adults do. I deal with snow as people who catch trains do. Like, my train's cancelled. I guess I'm working from home.
Damn, imagine if we had a functioning transit system.
Exactly,
See, actually,
I know.
It's been a little bit better the last 2 years because, I don't have to shovel. I'm renting. They take care of that. So that's nice. That has
been nice for me, but I did have the misfortune of last winter being the time where they decided they really needed to renovate the garage to my building, which means we all did have to find outdoor parking that we had to pay for ourselves.
Fun.
Oh, that's annoying.
So did you say your landlord has to shovel for you?
I mean, yeah.
That's good. I'm going to tell you right now. If my landlord isn't the one that introduced the bedbugs into the house, he doesn't have to deal with the bedbugs. Is what I found out recently. Which was why he was very insistent that it was not, the bedbugs did not come in on the duvet that he gave to someone when they asked for him to turn the heating on.
Yeah, the general rule of thumb, I don't know, like, legally, but, like, the general rule of thumb here I found is that the closer you get to, you are basically just renting or owning a house. Well, if you own a house, obviously that's on you, but the closer you get to, like, renting what is basically just a house, that's when they tend to be like, okay, you gotta take care of all your lawn shit yourself. But, like, if you're just in a unit like I am, then, like,
I see.
you know.
Oh, right. That makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, there's 7 other families in this building. So.
I see. Yes. Okay. So we have got some Ultra Q to come up. Now it's been a few weeks, so we might unintentionally we might have a lot to talk about. I don't know if we want to ration it out, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start. I'm just gonna pick my one thing because like I've done other stuff, but I'm not really that interested. I want to tell you about why The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson is not a very good novel. So this was like a perfectly competent novel for most of the way through. This was like I was like, this is 3 stars, and if it lands well, if it like nails the ending, it could be 4, right? I think the characters are kind of, these are generic, and he's like so scoundrel pilled, it's crazy. And but like, I think there's some decent stuff in here. He's doing like fake Rose of Versailles but like there's like espionage Rose of Versailles. And it's
do you want to know how he pitches this novel to people when he gets the "what novel should I start with" question?
Okay, go for it.
It's Ocean's 11 crossed with My Fair Lady.
Well, that makes sense. I see it, obviously. But it's the thing about Ocean's 11 is that's a heist movie, and this is not a heist movie. This is well, it is a heist. Here's I guess the problem is that it is a heist novel. It's what if a revolution was a heist? And I just think the final part, like part 5 of this novel, which is like the shortest part, it's just like it's the ending. It's the climax, everything pops off. And what happens is Brandon Sanderson has set up a bunch of stuff that he's got a checklist for paying off, and he's just going to run down all of them, and then the book is going to end. The idea that Brandon Sanderson is especially good at ending novels is, after reading this, I have to question who came up with this? Who decided this was true? Because it's not. This is not a good ending to a novel. This is like it was like watching a show that had been cancelled and had only had like 2 episodes left to wrap everything up. It's just so neat and tidy, and right. The way I'm going to describe this, where I'm like, it just everything gets resolved. You're going to be like, are you not describing the end of a novel? And I need you to understand it's a little it's not the same. It's different. There are no complications left. There is no tension left. Everything has been, and people are going to be, there are complications in the sequel, and I go, I don't really care about about whether there are complications in the sequel. I'm telling you that when it can't undo how straightforward the end of this novel is. The uprising is a joke. It's a fucking joke. It's dumb. It's like adopting the stance that like. There are many stances you can adopt with regards to monarchy, nobility, and commoners when you're writing a fantasy novel. Branson chooses maybe the most ridiculous by saying, the nobility and the commoners have a common enemy in the tyrannical monarch. Like, no. Bizarre opinion, Brandon. Ridiculous. It's this is not good. Mistborn is not good, and like because it doesn't stick the landing. Everything else loses its sheen. Where I'm just like, well, all these characters are like, there's nothing to them really.
Get the Holy Roman Empire.
This is how you get the Holy Roman Empire. This is absolutely true. Which in any other fantasy novel, I'd be like, yes, let's go, the Holy Roman Empire. But not in this one, where it's like, because it's like, it's doing like when I say Rose of Versailles, I really mean it's doing like French Revolution stuff.
Yeah.
It's it's silly.
I do think I can see how like a Holy Roman Empire inspired setting is like a fun one to go for, but I don't know of any fictional story that goes the extra mile and like does the thing where like Austria invented a title for itself to make itself more important, and it's just a lie.
That's just history's got it like fiction hasn't sometimes.
Yeah. Hey, Austria, what is an archduke anyway? Oh,
Yeah, it's like a duke, but he's bigger.
It's better.
It's like what if a duke was a king? Shut up. So yeah, I don't really rate the Final Empire. I think of the moment I got to the end and I was like, well, that was it. That was the. And there's like, there's a big reveal, a big twist, and it's all about the mechanics of the magic, the big climax. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't give a like. I read Assassin's Apprentice, and the magic in that book means something. It's good because you've got the skill and the wit, and the wit is like animal kinship. It's like, but not just animal kinship. It's like kinship with other people as well. There's like a sense of like the bonds between living things. And when the main character displays traits of the wit, Burrick, a man of the royal family, who's like looking after the main character Fitz, is like, no, I'm going to teach you the proper way the proper way that men master beasts. And it's all about this, then you get to like the skill, which is like the royal magic. It's like we're doing like bloodline magic. It's like it ties into the royal family. And it is like a very regal magic. It's like a thing where you can see far distances, and you can like alter people's perceptions. You can mess with their mind, and you can other people with the skill can lend their strength to you. And so there's like this regal stuff where like there are squads of special units of people who have the skill that are assigned to royalty, and they will just they will just kill themselves, just giving all their energy to that royalty so that they can do some great feat with the skill. And it all gets so tied up in the tension between like the cruel reality of feudalism and the romanticism of what if there was a prince that was your guy? What if he was your guy and you really liked him? And then I get to like the hard magic system of Mistborn, and it's like there are plot ways that this is important, and it ties into ideas in the themes of the book. But when the actual climax hits and it's this magical, I figured out the magical key to winning, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck what's happening outside in the revolution. What's going on out there? It sounds stupid.
The way I've described it before is that Brandon Sanderson writes magic for the people who had their minds blown as children while Sasuke hid the second shuriken under the shadow of the first when he fought Zabuza.
Okay, now let's not talk shit about kids who their minds blown. Now let's be careful who we're talking shit about here.
This is what you wanted, Red. No.
This is secretly what I always wanted. But no, I did not rate the Final Empire. I thought it was bad. I will read the rest of Mistborn because I want to read the Way of Kings, and apparently this is some fucking dumb MCU bullshit. I'm not going to read everything. I'm not going to read everything Brandon Sanderson ever writes. Absolutely not. I could not do that. But I do want to read Way of Kings, and like I'm just audiobooking. Okay, this is one thing I'll say. I probably would not enjoy reading Mistborn like myself. But it makes for perfectly good audiobook listening because it doesn't really require loads of attention to not miss anything. Because it's like, this is a very simple, this is YA adjacent, if
Yes.
not. Like there are certain bits of like subject matter that make it not YA, but it's if it wasn't for those, I'd call this a YA novel. Also, just the length of the like volume of it is a little much for a YA novel, maybe. But this is YA
I don't know.
adjacent.
I don't know anymore. I think that line's getting blurred.
Well,
That's the thing I had with Way of Kings as well, where I was like, it is like 90% YA like material, and then like the last 10% is like, okay, this kind of pushes it over an edge, I feel.
Okay.
But like I think that's kind of his vibe. I mean, he is very much a person that like really rejects like grimdark fantasy stuff, and I feel like that maybe shows in how sometimes he really. Sometimes I feel like he could go harder and make a better book. I'll say that.
You think that maybe a degree of cynicism about the hero's ability to simply save the day at the end of the book might go a long way to making a more a slightly more satisfying novel.
The thing for me where it hits is probably that. In Way of Kings, we get cynicism enough, but anytime... And I've dropped one of his other books, which is, like, basically a romance-oriented book, but, like, anytime relationship stuff comes up, I'm like, this is the most chaste-ass...
Here's the thing. On
not
the one hand,
sexy
yes.
thing I've ever read.
On the one hand, yes, absolutely. On the other hand, the bit of this book where I was like, we've got something here, was when Vin... Okay, this is some slight spoilers for The Final Empire. It's from 2005, keep up. Or, like, 6. Slight spoilers for like The Final Empire. Vin and Elend is like, I would not describe this as like necessarily a good romance. However, the bit where her like she's getting in too deep, where she's like, Ellen's a good guy. Like, I like him. He's like a nice person. He doesn't he doesn't think that the Empire's a good thing. And the rest of her crew is like, that's not enough. He's the heir to like a great house of the Empire. And the bit where I'm like, this book is getting to be about Vin trying to thread the needle on going through with this job while also saving her boyfriend. And like, how's that gonna go? And it, it goes so comically simply that I basically I decided this was a 2-star novel. But yeah, it's unfortunate because there's tension here. There's like complications could abound, and they just don't at the end for some reason, and it's dumb. And if there are any complications in the uprising, they will have to be retconned in after Brandon Sanderson realized, oh shit, I wrapped this up in too neat a bow. Good luck, mate. I will be reading those novels, listening to them, audiobooks. And then, I want to read Way of Kings, and if I bounce off Way of Kings, then that's it. I'm done with Brandon. Goodbye.
It's Jover.
Yeah, I think that's a fair spot to make a decisive call.
if I don't like his 1,000+ page novel called The Way of Kings, then there's no hope. I hope he's, I want to, because, I just want to, I need more fantasy authors to become like Hobbes pilled, like get into Leviathan. That'd be good. Anyway, that was me.
Anyway,
who's up?
I'll go.
Go. What you been up to?
Using a segue, speaking of novels that maybe end weirdly, so I finished in the break. I finished Magic's Promise, the second last Herald Mage trilogy.
But these are the Mercedes Lackey novels, right?
Mercedes Lackey, shell by genre. This one is like a time skip to where in the previous book the protagonist was a teenager and now he's like 28 and like a real protagonist man who is also having to deal with sort of like things are unraveling in the world and he's like the only one who's competent at things, and so he is very tired. And also things are going very bad, but a lot of the plot of the book is mostly he's overworked, so he's gonna go on vacation to his family and have the awkward Thanksgiving conversations because he's gay, and just having to unpack sort of like is really kind of interesting, because like I feel like this is a book that's maybe a bit lighter on plot and like a lot of contrivances can happen because that's just how it's going, but it's fine. It's not a thing that really takes you out of it, really. It's just sort of like, oh yeah, the thing that happens when it needs to happen to get the plot going. But the bulk of it's really more on the character dynamic stuff. And it's a lot of like interesting stuff where it's like you go home and you're like an actual bona fide hero and you gotta deal with like being in a position to like talk to like your older family members as equals, while also there's like the stuff from before that has not been fully sorted out that sort of like hangs over everything. It's like complicated and interesting things. And then the second half of the novel also becomes a mystery story where there's like a really absurd magic murder, and like both an attempt to solve it while also solving the mystery, how it gets solved will resolve a particular diplomatic incident kind of thing. And also the character involved with that is by no fault of that character just happens to like open all the trauma wounds of the protagonist, and he's got to unpack some stuff. Maybe one of the weaker things about the book is that like it does try and like in trying to have the protagonist like dealing with like characters who like basically abused him in the past. It does kind of like it does interesting work of like trying to like process sort of like a reconciliation there in a bit, and like I think what it does, like the writing feels good, but the fact that like maybe it does it twice is maybe it is a bit too much. Like a little like letting a few characters get away to the being too nice, letting them off the hook a bit too much. But also there's like differences there, like one of them becomes like more of a real friendship in a way that like they put in the work for, where the other one's kind of feels more of an afterthought with his dad, where it feels more like, well, I guess makes the situation work rather than like a real bona fide love, but it still feels like, well, you didn't have to do it with both characters. But on the whole, I enjoyed it. I'm enjoying this season of Shell by Genre more than expected. Might be my dark horse pick for the favorite season so far.
Yeah. The only bit that has kind of hit me from because I don't listen to Shell by Genre, but Mercedes Lackey's done a fucking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy that she's like I guess she's like a biology scientist.
Yeah.
And then also before she got into writing novels, she was doing like fandom albums for like fantasy stuff before just like writing her own novels.
Huh.
And then even when she was writing novels, she was just writing like a billion of them at a real fast clip. So it's kind of like crazy. She's like a Renaissance woman.
Yeah, it was kind of like, because we mentioned when we first mentioned the name Mercedes Lackey, and I was like, I'm sure I know that name, and I was just scrolling down. I haven't read any of these novels, but it's not surprising the name is slightly familiar to me because it's like a bajillion novels.
Yeah. But yeah, it was an interesting time. I need to start cracking on the last novel, Magic's Price.
Magic's Price.
Which is,
$7.99.
Yeah. It's joking Monogatari about that.
Okay. I'm glad I could. I clearly have the ability to write Monogatari if I wanted to.
Yeah. I think the joke was like, oh, you can get love at the convenience store. it's like 500 yen.
Damn.
But yeah, it's called The Last Herald Mage Trilogy. I hope sure something doesn't have bad happen to the Herald Mages.
Yeah. Do the Herald Mages have younglings by chance?
I don't know if it's quite like that. I feel like you get educated as a teenager kind of thing.
Okay.
But it is clear that like at this point in the second book, the numbers are dwindling because they keep like dying faster than they can be replaced. And part of like the protagonist's like struggle is both like I'm losing at all the people I know, and also because I am so capable, they keep giving me like 5 people's jobs. And somehow I can do it, but it does have a toll on me.
As an aside, I can't remember what it was, but I recently ran into something that referred to children as younglings, and I was like, this came out before those movies. And I was like, huh, okay. I guess some other people out here thought that was good. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway, the book does end on like a really weird punchline that made me go, that's strange. But it is silly. But yeah.
History will remember us as wives.
I gotta be honest, the one for this one is unhinged. And so I won't spoil what it is, but if you go see it, look out for that.
I do plan to read these eventually.
Yeah. Just some other going through the speed round for 2 points. One,
speed round.
Finish the new Monogatari season. It was good. Congrats to Aragi for her transition. Yeah, it was pretty good. I wasn't sure what to expect of like a sequel season, but is developing and is doing interesting stuff that I enjoyed. It was nice to see the characters again. And also whatever the fuck Aragi was going up with. Also, I finished Kingdom of Heaven last night. That's a funny movie.
That's a very funny movie.
I didn't realize until the second half just how funny it was. The first half was just like, yeah, this just seems like, what you'd expect from a Hollywood movie about the Crusades, set in the Crusades, but like through the lens of liberalism. And then you get the fucking speech with Orlando Bloom.
Now, look here. There may have been a massacre in Jerusalem long ago, but it was long ago. None of us were alive for that. So who really cares?
Long ago as in your grandfather.
I didn't massacre any Muslims at Jerusalem. Did you? No, none of us were here. And none of those Muslims out there were here either. I'll have you know. Why are they so mad at us?
In fact, I will also mention the Second Temple and the Mount of the Rock.
Yes.
In case you're wondering how subtle this I'm being.
In case weren't detecting the undertones. All is forgiven when I'm Orlando Bloom, like dealing with Saladin, and I'm like, I would surrender to you, but the Christians massacred everyone in Jerusalem when we took over. And Saladin's like, who do you think I am? Who do you think? Yeah. Who do you take me for? I am not those men.
the guy just styling on Guy by like pulling out a cup of ice in the middle of the desert. So
good.
While they're they show them all the Crusaders being dehydrated, and he's just like, yeah.
Now, I don't know the differences, but I do know this is one of those movies where it's like, oh, the theatrical cut is a nightmare and the director's cut is vastly preferred. Which one did you watch?
Director's cut.
Okay.
It seems like there's just no reason to watch the theatrical cut.
Yeah, from what I've heard, there is just not enough of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
I know. I know. It's Ridley Scott, right?
Yeah.
I know Ridley Scott is just like
He loves
fucking
to do
hates
that.
it. Yeah.
I think it's funny that the movie ends with fucking Richard the Lionheart rocking up.
It's time for the prize fight, baby.
Yeah, he's fucking Avengers style singer.
Yeah. Nick Fury traveling in time to Richard the Lionheart. Have you heard of the Avengers Initiative?
Have you heard of the Third Crusade?
Man.
I can't believe instead of the phase structure, they're calling them crusades now over there.
Yeah, it's funny that like you have the really dumb fight at the end with Orlando Bloom and Guy because of like, I don't know, anime rivalry. Yeah, anime rivalry shenanigans, but like Orlando Bloom can't kill Guy because he lives in history.
It's also cuck rivalry. It's truly we're in seed territory.
Yeah. Someone was telling me that like, the way Bolden and Saladin talk is basically like an anime move. So.
It is. It kind of is. It's a wild movie. Everyone's in it.
Yeah, everyone's in it.
I still don't know whether I like it, but it's certainly
it's
memorable.
Entertaining. I did clap when in the beginning of the movie Liam Neeson says "A Kingdom of Heaven."
A Kingdom of Conscious, Kingdom of Heaven.
Orlando Bloom's like, "Don't worry, your brother's kingdom lived here." As he puts his hand on his heart, it's like, no, I think it was like a physical place. It's fucking destroyed.
You gotta do a double feature now with The Last Duel. His other historical drama.
I'm not doing that. I'm gonna like watch El Cid.
Here's the thing. You say The Last Duel. I'm not gonna watch The Last Duel anytime soon. I will happily watch The Duelists one day. I have to watch that. That movie looks good.
I don't know what that is.
That's like one of Ridley Scott's early movies. It's about two real guys who are very famous for having like hundreds of duels or something.
Oh.
They fucking hated each other so much. They kept trying to kill each other and not managing it.
At the risk of... it's long enough. I think I'll probably be fine. I am more likely than not, and by more likely than not, I'm pretty sure actually we just know for a fact that this is true, the descendant of I believe one of the first two white men to have a duel in the New World and get in trouble for it.
It's pretty funny.
Okay.
He was on the Mayflower.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear listeners, we got an OG settler on the podcast. Welcome.
Yeah. Hey, listen, maybe sometimes you have relatives that have the Mayflower Compact on the wall of their house, and you feel really weird about it every time you go over there.
Are they going to make the same speech as Orlando Bloom?
Well, it's an us. The Mayflower up, but we went alive.
Speaking of duelists.
Speaking of duelists, okay,
what Yu-Gi-Oh did you watch?
I finished the first
We're
quote-unquote
so good
season.
at podcasting. What?
I finished the first quote-unquote season of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds.
Oh, was it? Okay, I was just guessing. That was okay. That's funny.
I hinted at it in the Skipping the Queue.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. It's been an interesting journey. I don't know. I need to check who the writers are, but
Okay.
when I last. Okay, so like vaguely, like the season can be kind of split into like 2 arcs, and the first arc's kind of like has one writer for the first 25 or so episodes, and when I last talked to the show, I was like halfway through that first arc. I was like 12 episodes in, where like Yusei experiences the police state in a class-based society and goes to jail, and then the end of that arc, the next stretch of episodes after that is he's kind of coerced into entering a tournament, and his tournament.
Like a children's card game.
Yeah. And like one guy called Bomber tries to like assassinate the president, and it's pretty cool.
Does he do it with a bomb?
No, he does it with a motorcycle.
Huh?
Like he
It's
loses
fair.
his duel with Yusei, and he's like, this city bombed my village, so I'm going to go ride my motorcycle
Oh, he's
into the
called Bomber
tower.
because they bombed his village. Okay.
He like he tries to like use the track to like jump his motorcycle into the tower where the president is.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. But Yusei gets really liberal about it because that's the kind of show it is.
Of course. Well, yeah, TV, Japanese TV for small children. We know how this goes.
Yeah, and then after that tournament, the next arc starts where so the thing about the 5Ds is like it's D's because of dragon, because this guy, and by guy I mean cosmic entity called the Crimson Dragon, and
Okay.
there's like lore about the Nazca lines or something. And
Okay.
there's 5 characters with like a birthmark that glows of the mark of the dragon, and they're called, in Japan they're called signers, but in the English dub they're called signers because that's how it's spelt.
I see.
And then this arc introduces the dark signers, where they use
They've got the dark sign.
yeah, where they're like the evil power of the Nazca lines, and they have like dark synchro monsters with negative levels.
Sorry, I really love the phrase "the evil power of the Nazca lines."
And then they have these like they're trying to like, I don't know, destroy the world or something, reset the world, anime plot. And they have like these cards called the Earthbound Gods, where like if they play them, a giant kaiju gets summoned to real life because they absorb the souls of the people around them. This is the part where like one writer leaves, another one comes in, and it gets into real vibes of Gundam 00 for season 1 versus season 2, where I'm season 1 feels like it's building up some themes where you have the class-based society, and then season 2 becomes not that. And it's feels a bit more character oriented. Like there's a good arc where, because of the tournament, Yusei won, and Jack Atlas, the king, is no longer the king, and he has to like find his soul, and he ends up having really a fun character dynamic between thick squirrely glasses reporter Carly, who's really bad at her job but tries her best, and it's good, the development that becomes between them, because just like the most pathetic girl somehow worming her way into the heart of like a guy who sucks, and he's like, maybe I should suck less. But sucks in a fun way because of like his arrogance kind of thing. But also just sort of like you get some backstory stuff with Yusei and like his former like friend. There's a weird fucked up shit where like the Dark Signers get their powers from dying and then being resurrected by like the Dark Gods or whatever. So a character is like forcefully recruited in Dark Signers by they basically hang him, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Damn.
That always didn't show up in the dub, but it's just kind of like,
four kids watching that going, no.
I was just like, dang, that's a thing I watched on my TV. I think I have a screenshot of it too. I'll try and look for it, but yeah. Anyway, I think it's like, it's like I feel kind of 50-50 about the second half, because it does kind of just become like there were like themes going on. Yeah, there we go.
And they've kind of been lost for character drama, but like sometimes the character drama is pretty good. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
I guess.
and I feel like I felt like I gave it short thrift a bit. Like maybe it wasn't as much for me as I thought. Like
That's a really long rope.
That is.
Yeah, it's technically like a thread from a spider cut monster, but don't worry about it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. You know, this stuff is pretty metal stuff. Like, I do think to some degree it's like the problem dragon syndrome.
The problem dragon?
It's a thing where it's like, the way it's like
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like Final Fantasy Tactics versus like Fire Emblem.
I see.
Where the plot in Fire Emblem is it's the problem dragon.
Yes.
And so it's like, yeah, there's like all the stuff about classes like cast aside. You have like
I had somehow never heard the term problem dragon before, but that's a very good.
Oh, okay.
That's a very good term for it.
Yeah.
To be honest, yeah.
Yeah, there's like stuff about like, if the bridge between Neo Domino and Satellite, which is like the rich and poor districts, are if they complete the bridge, then we'd have equality. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Yeah, there's like liberalism. There's some degree of like because a lot of people die, you kind of just know they're gonna bring some of them back, or like there's like a real moral quandary and like sort of like because they also paired off a bunch of like the dark signers with signers.
I see.
And like
Nano has strikers. Sorry.
And there's like one of the 5Ds is like the psychic girl named Makiza, who has a cool Rose Dragon card, and she's got like she's like groomed by like a guy running like who's like claims to be for Esper liberation, but really is like training super soldiers to fight wars. Which wars? Who cares? We'll make them.
Wars. Don't worry about it. Them wars.
He's like, yeah, I'll basically arms dealer approach to like, well, hopefully the wars happen, and if not, and then she had like a conflict with like a fortune teller lady who's blamed her for her brother's death, and then they instead of like giving the character like an actual moral quandary to deal with, they kind of just go, actually it was this other guy's fault, you don't have to worry about that, it's fine. So sometimes there's a bit of like making things too tidy, which I also think is a bit of a weakness. So yeah, it feels like a bit of a mixed bag. Yeah. I think overall most people probably like still enjoy it because the character stuff was pretty good. It's just it did lose some of the stuff I was like interested in. Mm-hmm. Ironically enough, the writer of the first 26 episodes I found out was also wrote a card game show, a different one that I'm in the middle of that I want to finish, that I'm enjoying because it does have some sauce, and I'll probably talk about it later.
I see.
But it is a fun thing noticing, I won't go into specifics, I'll go into specifics then, but it's sort of like, it's interesting that this guy who was cooking with themes has brought something to the table with this show. But yeah. Also, nice. All my friends tell me that this is the part where 5D starts getting bad. So look forward to that. Yeah.
Wow.
And then just got two more things real quick.
Okay.
First of all, these are both related to Halloween because Halloween happened. First, I did my yearly tradition of watching a fighting game movie on Halloween.
What movie did you watch?
I watched, finally, this is like the 5th year I've been doing this, so fitting for like the 5th year, I watched the Street Fighter 2 animated movie.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the better ones, at least from my memory. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
It did, when I'm watching it, I was like, I did feel like this is probably the best one of these I've seen.
Did you watch the version of it that, like, has Ken driving in his car and then Alice in Chains Them Bones starts playing?
I don't think so.
It's
I think I watch it.
The dub soundtrack is amazing.
But I have heard the dub soundtrack is funny. It does feel like, I don't know if it set like the template for future like Capcom OVAs, because I feel like there's a similar structure in the Darkstalker and Street Fighter Alpha OVAs. I feel like the Darkstalker one is close in quality to this one, but this one's still like the better one. Just got good vibes. The animation is kind of amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does follow the formula of one of these where there is a core plot, but sometimes it's just like Zangief isn't actually part of the plot, but we do need him in the Street Fighter 2 movie, so we'll just cut away to a scene of him and Blanca fighting.
Yeah.
That happens a lot in like the Darkstalkers OVA too, but though I think that one does a better job maybe of having like multiple story threads going. I like that this movie is like Guile and Chun-Li become buddy cops.
Sounds cool.
Ken and Ryu are fun. Really cool fight scene where like Vega does a home invasion style attempt assassination on Chun-Li.
Yes, so good.
This is very famous.
And like it starts with like the record is playing, and so the record is playing at the start of the fight, and then it ends with like Vega first person POV of Chun-Li doing the kick super. Like hell yeah. And then like the fight with Ken and Ryu beating Bison at the end is sick. And the end of the movie is pretty fun, but I heard it seems that the dub soundtrack makes it even funnier. I don't know if I assume, Brad, you've seen the movie, I guess?
I have a very long time ago, and I do not remember off the top of my head what the ending song is.
Oh, but do you remember how the movie ends?
Vaguely? But, like, I don't know. I could probably use a refresher.
I think I'm gonna spoil it because it's funny. It's not actually, like, a big deal.
It's a Street Fighter movie. The plot doesn't
it's
matter.
just Ken and Ryu go to separate ways. Ken's going in his fancy car, and Ryu's like, "Don't worry, I'll walk." And he's just walking on the highway, and then behind him, Bison comes up with him in the truck. Then Ryu's like jumps at him to do a Hadouken, and then the freeze frames.
I do not remember that, actually.
It's really funny. And then I think in the dub soundtrack, it's like freeze frame, and then it's like cut to like death metal playing.
Oh, that's good.
It's good. I've often heard that this movie inspired the Alpha series, and like I can bet like it was probably sick. And there's like I know stuff like not just the art style, because like Alpha has an anime style art style, but also just like there's like a secret mode often in the console versions called Dramatic Battle, where it's like you can reenact that scene from the movie where you play as Ken and Ryu against Bison, and it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very funny that the very last frame of the movie is, oh, by the way, there's a live action movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme coming out soon.
Lol.
But yeah, I had a good time. I have no idea what I'll do next year, because I'm like, well, I'm probably reaching the point where I'm stripping the bottom of the barrel. I'm not gonna fucking do like Street Fighter 2 V, because that's a whole last series, but I'll see. And finally, very important, I did this before Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
I finished Castlevania Aria of Sorrow.
Okay.
That's a good video game.
Metroidvania experience. This one is interesting. It's the last of the GBA games, and is often considered the best one. It's the one that's very clearly mechanically going, we're doing Symphony of the Night again. And this one's funny because it's set in the future. It's set in the year 2035. And it's starring a guy called Soma Cruz, who is just, has a really funny outfit. And he's going to visit. He's in Japan. And he's going to visit his friend, the Mina, who's like a shrine maiden. And she's going to the shrine, and suddenly Dracula's castle appears. He's like, what the fuck is this? Oh yeah, this Castlevania game. But then, brand new character, don't know who he is, Ginya Arikado. Looks at the camera.
Okay.
Says, oh, by the way, I know this is normal for a Castlevania game, but also Dracula died in 1999 for real, so we don't know what's up with this. Maybe Dracula's returned? ? Who can say? Also, nice dark powers you got there, Soba. And someone's like, what dark powers? As he like absorbs the soul of a demon. And this is where the gameplay gimmick of Aria of Sorrow is introduced, which is that enemies can drop souls as power-ups, and Soma can equip them. And as he goes to the castle, he gets more
some kind
gold.
of Dark Souls.
Yeah.
And sometimes they have very low drop rates.
Sometimes they're fucking useless. And
That
look at fucking Soma's outfit. It's fucking ridiculous.
Okay, I'm coming into the. Let me go. This is the biggest jet. Those jeans go so high. The flared jean. Wow, these shoes. Everything.
Yeah,
this is incredible.
Yeah, and then
This is. Anyway.
But yeah,
yes.
the mystery is like, damn, but like in 1999, Dracula was killed for real by Julius Belmont. What's up with that? Why is the castle back? Why did it return? And then you go through the castle, and sometimes you'll bump into a random character like I guess like Arikado's partner Yoko, and then some guy named Graham, who is definitely not evil, who's like, yeah, I think I'm the reincarnation of Dracula. It's definitely me. It's definitely no one else in this story. Nobody else. And then also you meet this guy named Jay, who's just like, yeah, I don't have any memories past 1999. I don't know what's up with that. Nice dark powers you have, though. Sure, it's nothing. And yeah, it's a fun story. I'm sure you can read between the lines to see what this twist of a GBA game from 2003 or 2006 is. It's pretty cool. I do think it's like one of those things where it's like I do wish I had like the dub 2A dash that Juiced had in Harmony of Dissonance.
Okay, you're like missing those sick moves from other games.
Yeah, but also you get a lot of other sick moves in this game, so
okay,
evens out. Like Juiced, because he's like a Belmont, he uses exclusively the whip.
I see.
Whereas like Soma, more like Alucard, who is definitely not in this video game.
No.
Uses like a variety of weapons like swords and stuff. And yeah, it's just, cool stuff. It's a lot more simplified. It doesn't have like the two castle flip-flopping like Harmony of Dissonance. You're just in one castle, and it's pretty normal to explore it. You get cool abilities. Unfortunately, like some of them, these like literal entire sections where you have to do the fucking water temple puzzle in Ocarina of Time, because there's like a specific soul that you equip. Because like there's three kinds of soul. There's like there's four kinds. There's the red ones, which are like, these are your basic sub weapon kind of things. Like, oh, this is like a fireball I'm going to use kind of thing. There's like the blue ones, which are like, this is a toggleable ability that is useful in certain situations. Like, I'm gonna put on a shield, or I'm gonna turn into a bat for a bit while I hold down the button. And there's the yellow ones, which are like the equipable passives, which sometimes increase stats, or sometimes are used for navigation. Like, this soul lets you walk underwater, and in order to get back to the top of the water, you have to de-equip it.
Okay.
So that's annoying. And then there's also like green-gray souls, which are just like permanent ones you get in the normal like relic style from Symphony of the Night and stuff. And yeah, it's cool. I liked it a lot. I can see why, this one is. I don't know if I necessarily like it as much as Symphony of the Night, because it's kind of hard to beat, especially because that one's on the PS1, this one's on the GBA, but this one definitely is in striking distance. I think it's definitely reaching.
I'd
that
say
level.
This one's probably my favorite of the Castlevanias I played. I like it a lot.
I might have to replay it more. And also replay Symphony of the Night. There's stuff that I like the annoying thing about Symphony is that the portals to fast travel, there's cycle. It's like you cycle through a set rotation, whereas this one you can actually go where you want directly. I can see the arguments for both, so it's just not a preference, I think. The penultimate boss fight is a really sick fight against a Belmont, and it's super cool, and it's also hard as balls. And yeah. Yeah, it's cool. Arisawa is cool.
Cool.
I think I'd like to do Dawn of Sorrow next, and then I'll see what I do. That's the first one on the DS.
I've heard that Dominus Collection or whatever they're calling it is very good from friends who touched it.
Yeah.
I wish Order of Ecclesia was as fun as it, like, as cool as the main character is.
That's the one where I feel like it's, like, divisive. Like, some people really like it, and some people really do not care for it.
I could never call it a bad game, but I definitely do think it's one of those games where it's like, you play it and it's like, man, I wish this was better. But...
Yeah. Yeah, I'll see. That's gonna be the last one I get to anyway, because the last one release order. Before that is, obviously Dawn of Sorrow. And then after that's Portrait of Ruin, but I want to do the Genesis game / Mega Drive Bloodlines, because that's like technically a prequel to Portrait of Ruin. So we'll see. Castlevania, good.
Castlevania, good. Nice.
All right, I'm done.
Okay. Brad, what you been up to?
Well, after a month, I still have not finished Ergo Proxy, but I'm deep enough that I can talk about it.
Oh my god.
So, which is funny. This is a short anime. It's only like 20,
Yeah,
I think it's like
it's not very
23
long.
episodes. Yeah. Shorter than like your standard. So I was like, oh, huh. But,
You know what's one episode shorter than 23 episodes long?
what?
Season 1 of Psychopaths.
Yeah, which I thought Ergo Proxy was.
I see.
Somehow. So, Ergo Proxy. Hey, first of all, have either of you two seen this anime before?
Nope.
I have watched the first episode.
Okay. So had I. Ergo Proxy is a show that begins and you go, okay, I've seen this setup before. There's this lady with like classic goth GF anime mid-2000s makeup and appearance going on. And she's like a cop in this dystopian city that's like too clean. Like everything's like white and pale grays and nobody walking around has any like emotion, and that's like there's all this propaganda on the walls about like, oh, be a good citizen. And like, you know, withdraw into yourself and like don't have emotion, like that sort of stuff or whatever. And she's investigating the auto raves of the city, which are their fancy name for like, you know, replicants or whatever your sci-fi flavor of android people are. Because they're starting to develop free will in the form of this virus going around called the Cogito virus.
Oh no.
Yeah, and we can't be having that. So she goes around with her partner, who is also an auto rave named Iggy, and she's investigating, like, hey, why are they gaining sentience? And specifically, also too, when they do this, they tend to kill people. Is the big problem here. So once she's out investigating this, she gets attacked by a weird gargoyle demon thing, and she goes, this is probably related. Around the same time, she ends up investigating this immigrant who is trying to work his way up to full citizen status, named Vincent Law, who seems to also be attacked and harassed by these weird gargoyle creatures wherever he goes. And they end up getting roped into this conspiracy regarding these creatures called proxies. He ends up leaving the city, which is this giant domed city in the middle of a wasteland. And she kind of goes on this little conspiratorial like investigation of like, okay, what's really happening here? What are these things? How does this relate to the android case that I'm on? And then also tied into this are one other main character that kind of rounds out the trio is this child auto rave, who is specifically an android that is designed to be given to parents who do not qualify to have a child because of the society. You don't have your own babies, you apply for one and they grow them.
See.
Like the Cosmic Era.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of. But it's basically like, here, we'll give you like a training dummy kid, and like maybe someday it'll like help you work your way up to like, you know, you can have a real one, then you can toss this one in the dumpster or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one day while the gargoyle is chasing this Vincent guy around at this mall, it murders the mom and like actual baby human child that this android child is attached to. And seemingly, like, she just kind of goes home. She's like, well, that sucks. And then she develops, she gets hit with the Cogito virus. But seemingly because she's a child and not, like, an adult like the other ones, she doesn't decide, oh, I want to go kill humans now. She just decides, like, I'm going to walk around and hang out. And then she gets roped in with the other two. There's also a weird thing involving, kind of tangential to Riel Mayer, the goth cop lady's story. There is this guy named Raoul who is kind of like the head of like dome security, and him increasingly going more fash as he tries to uncover for himself what the conspiracy is, while also ensuring that his dome hometown remains safe and free of shenanigans. And then Daedalus, who is a creepy doctor man who knows a lot more than he should about these odd creatures and what their true purpose is. And also has a very not normal crush on the main heroine. Now, the problem with this show is that this has all the aesthetics and the trappings of what I'd say is like a Ghost in the Shell or a Psycho-Pass from what I know of it, or any of that like production IG cyberpunk, like we're gonna do some deep thinking about cyberpunk society type stuff and like, you know, politicking. That is not what this show is. It feels like a fake out, because what it actually is that there are Bleach like monsters running around, and we're gonna have some maybe vague gestures towards philosophers and Gnostic concepts, but it's all just vibes, and it's actually a very simple story of like people who live in a weird world trying to figure out their place in it and the true nature of the world. And maybe the answers aren't actually all that deep or profound. Maybe it doesn't actually have a lot to say, but the characters are likable, and like the music's good. The visuals are pretty snappy when they want to be. It's an alright show that I wish was a little bit cooler and deeper, but I can't fault it for what it is. Directed by the Murase, a guy who's also doing the Hathaway movies.
Yes. I like him. Good job.
Yeah. I would say my main issue with the show is that the first half of it is cutting between basically Vincent and Pino, who is the little android girl. Get it? It's like Pinocchio, haha. And his adventures outside of the dome. And, you know, there are people living out there, and him kind of trying to figure out both what the fuck he is and why these monsters are attracted to him. And also what's going on in society beyond this dome. This is around the point where he also starts to realize, wait a minute, I don't remember what my life is before I arrived in that city. Who am I? And while all of that's happening, we have all of the internal politics of the dome through Riel and the other characters, and all of that stuff I think is fucking boring. It's a lot of going back to a boardroom where there's a regent who is her grandfather, and like them talking about like the city is starting to crumble, things are getting bad, we cannot have all of these occurrences happening, the people will catch on, like all of that stuff. And it's just, they spend way too much on it, and there's just not enough substance there. But then halfway through, Riel flees the city to meet up with Vincent, and this is after he has a realization of who he is, or I guess more specifically what he is. And they decide, hey, let's figure out your past together. And then it becomes about the three of them becoming this weird found family unit, going from place to place in this weird post-apocalyptic wasteland and seeing a bunch of surreal shit, and it's great. there is an episode that genuinely one of the most creative things I've seen, I think, from a mid-2000s anime, where it starts, and it's called Who Wants to Be in Jeopardy? And it's a parody of Western game shows, where one of the gargoyle monsters is hosting a game show, and he has both, like, the child and the goth cop trapped in, like, a tube, and, like, they're basically in a game show match to the main character, Vincent's in, like, a death trap game show where if he wins the prize at the end, he gets to live and his friends get rescued, and the bad guy blows himself up, and if he loses, all three of them are going to die. And all of the questions are, like, it's, like, half, like, oh, what's the name of the theorem to, like, you find the hypotenuse of a triangle? Or it's stuff like, in the great ecological disaster that resulted in the creation of the Dome Cities, how much of humanity was lost? And, like, it's doing world building in this weird sort of, like, parody game show format, and it's the most I've discovered about what the actual true situation of the world is in the show, and it's amazing.
This makes me think about that post about that JRPG. I don't know what I can't remember the JRPG, but it's like a little quiz that you do at the end of the tutorial, and one of the questions is, what shape is the Earth? And if you say round, everyone calls you an idiot and is like, you do know there's a big ice wall, right? It's flat.
Oh, that's fun. But yeah, it's really cool. There's another episode, so they're flying around on this big ship. It's like an airship thing that, like, catches the wind and then they can fly from it. There's an episode where they get stuck out in a frozen tundra and the wind just stops. And the whole episode is them just hanging out, having snowball fights, and, like, learning how to just live together.
This sure sounds okay.
It's really sweet and good. And when it's about that stuff, I'm having a great time. When it's about, oh, what implications does all of this have? What happens if the people find out that there are monsters flying around? I'm just like, please stop. You're not this show. You can't do this. You can't hang out with the others. Do your own thing. I hope it sticks the landing, because I have been enjoying the second half far more from the first. There's also this is a minor spoiler, I guess, but there's a really great moment where I feel like this is also the show kind of identifying itself too, because, like, the first half of the series, like I said, is Riel just doing, like, she's trying to be the Major from Ghost in the Shell so bad. And then there's a point halfway through where she gets confronted about the fact that, like, you only have your cop job because you're a Nepo baby and your grandfather runs the city you're in, and you also suck ass at it. You haven't figured out anything on your own. Like, if you didn't have the contacts you had, you would be none the wiser to anything happening right now. And, like, she doesn't really have a way to argue back because it's all true. It's great. So yeah, I'm having a pretty decent time with Ergo Proxy. That OP is fucking phenomenal too. Great song.
Nice.
Yeah.
Would you now, like, this, yeah, there is a degree to which Ergo Proxy seems like it's a thing, like, trying to do, like, Ghost in the Shell stuff. It's also kind of, like, got that, like, 2000s vibe of, like, I group it in with Ra Zephon a little bit, maybe.
No, that was Brad's old name.
Shut the fuck up. But, I would not, so, Psychopath is a production IG cyberpunk show, but the vibe is very different. Would you like to know what the vibe is on Psychopaths?
Yes.
Cops in suits smoking cigarettes. And it's a very, there is no major. These are like people. These are like just, these are cops. These are ass cops.
Okay.
Doing police procedural work in a cyberpunk setting.
Does Psychopaths have a Togusa?
Oh, Who's the okay? Who is? We need to now identify who is the Togusa of Psychopaths. Is it Akane?
You know what? I can see
It
the argument.
works.
I can see the
It
argument.
works.
What if Togusa was the protagonist?
What if Togusa was the protagonist?
Do you have a Beto? And then Beto.
No one's that cool inside.
Yeah.
Psychopath is about people who are like sad, but like also they suck.
Yeah.
Like everyone's got their boyfriend in Ghost in the Shell is Bateau. Meanwhile, I'm over here with looking for pathetic men, and I'm like, Ginaza, that's my boyfriend. evil cop boyfriend Nobuchika Ginaza.
Innocence.
You should watch Innocence.
I gotta get to that.
I have seen Innocence. I like Innocence a lot. But it's specifically there's just I don't think there's a Bateau in Psychopaths. I think instead Psychopaths has Ginazas, has like a Ghost in the Shell doesn't have like a Kagari.
Yeah.
Ghost in the Shell also doesn't have a Yayoi. I mean, well,
it's a different
standalone complex has, but different. Psychopaths is good, but yeah, Ergo Proxy seems like
on this podcast.
As established on this podcast.
Go listen to that beach house, I guess.
I'm on that beach house. This let me plug.
I still haven't watched Battle of Algiers. I gotta watch that too.
That's a good movie. That's a really good movie. Okay. Ergo Proxy. I do kind of want to watch this at some point. But it's like low down priority list.
I think you'd enjoy it, but I would also keep your expectations in check of like,
oh yeah.
This is maybe a vibes hangout show to put on before bed.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely, actually, I would say this is a good show to watch the hour leading up to you going to sleep. It's just kind of chill in that way. And it won't put you to sleep. It's enough to keep your interest, but like, it's a good sleepy time show.
I see. Okay. What else have you been up to?
I'm not going to talk too much about this one, but I did play the Monster Hunter Wilds open beta, and had a phenomenal time. This was the first thing I've played on my new PC where I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm happy I spent the absurd amount of money I did on this. So, Monster Hunter Wilds, noticeable, very high system requirements. People are kind of struggling. This is the big talking thing that people have been talking about. And apparently even like on like consoles, it's kind of starting to show like, okay, those things are starting to get a little bit old. But also, like, I mean, frankly, I just don't think this game is optimized very well. I was running it on Ultra, no problem, and I was like, hell yes, I love I love that I am at this point where I could just, like, run things and make it look really pretty, and also run fast. And hopefully this sticks for a few years, and then inevitably time will do its thing, and, I'll be left behind in the dust. But for now, I'm going to enjoy being on the top of the pack here. It's just Monster Hunter World, but bigger. And in a way that I think is mostly good. So are either of you two Monster Hunter people, I should ask?
No,
I am not a Monster Hunter. Oh, you go first.
Yeah, I feel like I've been interested in it, but I've just never like clicked with it whenever I've tried.
I played a decent amount of World, but I couldn't get. I don't know. At some point, it was a little too much work. But I do intend to play one of the 3DS ones at some point.
Okay. So one of the big thing with World when it came out, I feel like this kind of gets lost to memory because World was the one that got truly big over here in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But the big thing with World was, hey, the environments are going to feel more alive. There's more interactable stuff in terms of, like, you can drop rocks onto monsters. Like, they can collide with, like, this wall, and then, like, stuff will topple over into them. They can fall into these pits or, like, you know, get stuck in, like, sand traps, stuff like that. Wild seems to be doing all of that stuff, but then dialing it up to 11. Case in point, in this giant desert environment that this demo took place in, there's a lightning-based wyvern, and if a lightning storm breaks out in the middle of your fight, it'll charge up the monster and give it new attacks. I also was fighting it and had... So, another thing that the series is kind of known for is, like, monsters will fight each other, too, if they encounter each other a lot of the time, and there's, like, unique animations for the different pairs of monsters getting into combat with each other, and it's kind of nice because, like, it'll end up taking some damage and kind of... It's like you're tag-teaming the monster that you're fighting with this other monster that just shows up, right? I had it happen where one of the other big monsters showed up and was starting to tussle with this wyvern thing, and it grabbed it with its talons, swung around, and then tossed the monster at me like a projectile, and I had to dive out of the way. It ruled. And all of that stuff is great. I had a wonderful, like, couple hours with it. I played with some friends, and there were some connectivity issues, but I mean, hey, that's why you do a beta, right? But something that's actually kind of neat is that if in multiplayer the connection is lost to your party, it's not like a thing where it's like, oh, connection lost, returning to, like, the hub, like, whatever. The timeline diverges, and suddenly, like, you're just playing single player, but, like, you're still fighting the monster.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all seamless, which is neat. I don't know how they figured out how to do that. And I don't remember if World did that off the top of my head. I don't think it did. I think it just kicked you from the room. But that was neat, in my opinion. Just like, oh, okay, I can just finish this job even though the connectivity issues happened. The one thing I don't like is... So they've introduced rideable mounts in the last game, Rise. That's one of the things they're carrying over to this game. Because the environments are so much bigger than they have been in the past games, they've introduced, like, an auto run to the tracked monster button. And at that point, I'm kind of like, why aren't you just warping me to the fucking thing? Like, what's the point? Yeah, like, what? Because in a World, you had to find signs of the monster and track it, and, like, at some point, eventually, after you had done that so often. Yeah. Well, that was mostly a thing from World more so than the previous ones.
There's stuff in previous ones, but it's not. Yeah. It's like different.
Yeah. And I hope that some of that stuff is still around because I do find it fun. I know that there's a lot of people that get really tired of it after a while. I do kind of like how they did it in a World where it's like, okay, after you've done this so many times, like you know how to find where this thing is. And it seems like they really streamlined down a lot of that stuff for Wilds. And it's just like, okay, we want to get you into the fight immediately. And that's kind of a bummer for me. Most of my friends did like this. I do have one friend who I would say is the most, like, old head Monster Hunter guy I know. And he was pretty down on it. He was just like, I think they have finally reached the threshold of quality of life features where I'm not having fun anymore, and it's too simple. I can see it, but
yeah, the thing with that is that, like, they want to, like, streamline away busy work, but the game has so much grind in it already that it's like, well, you're streamlining out, like, the busy work that's, like, you're streamlining out some busy work. You're not streamlining, like, the bit where, you know, this game takes forever to gather everything that you need to make something.
You feel like streamlining the busy work that, like, adds texture, not the busy work where you're just doing tedium.
Yeah,
yes.
I think, like, a good boundary, like, between this is, like, there are people who want to place the large explosive barrels when the monster is sleeping and then blow them up to get a bunch of, like, free damage. and like want to be able to reliably do that every time. And then there are other people that want to have to get all the materials they need to get that large explosive barrel crafted, so that they feel the tension of when they lay down their traps and their devices, like, I need to make this count. It took me some time to get all this stuff together. I can't waste all of that effort.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that probably, I mean, a lot of average casual game, like, player people that just want to swing big sword do not want to feel that tension.
There's got to be there's also just like a fundamental thing of like the escalation of like the first time you hunt big thing, it's like big deal, but like you have to hunt it a million more times, and I don't know, it's weird because like I don't know that I'll ever play a Monster Hunter like focusing on like multiplayer stuff, but that feels antithetical to Monster Hunter. I don't know. Maybe what I should do is I should play the original Monster Hunter.
You could for the novelty. There is a PSP version that is basically like, hey, do you want to play the best, most feature-rich version of the first game? Also, worth noting, I think there's like emulator stuff you can set up to get around this, but if you play Monster Hunter 1 without the online service, which is now obviously dead, you cannot, you just can't fight the final boss anymore.
I see.
So,
never mind.
Freedom Unite is, I think, the name of the game you're looking for, though, which is just like, this is Monster Hunter 1 with a bunch of more stuff on the PSP.
The truth is, I'm gonna play one of the one that's on the 3DS, just because like I like the DS and the 3DS.
Hey, for what it's worth, I would say Monster Hunter 4U probably in the runnings for a lot of people's favorite Monster Hunter game still.
Also, you know, there was like a couple of weeks ago, you brought up probably the only Kingdom Hearts game I'm ever gonna play, just because I'm like fun, neat DS game.
You should maybe check out Recoded too, because I do think people like that one.
Yeah,
but for like gameplay purposes, not story purposes.
The plots usually seems forgettable, but the gameplay's usually well liked.
Yeah. But yeah, I also too, I wouldn't worry about playing. I predominantly play Monster Hunter single player, I would say, and I think the people that are like, oh, you need to be playing multiplayer are full of shit.
Oh, I see.
Hey, sometimes you get matched with someone, and they take all 3 of the deaths that you're allowed per party, and you really wish that you have played single player.
The cost system.
The costs. I did like what I had played of Monster Hunter. I like the switch axe, but I think if I'm real, if I play another Monster Hunter, I think I'm gonna go Gunlance. It's just cool.
Gunlance is
cool.
It's
fucking cool.
I still don't know what I would play in a Monster Hunter, just because, like, you know, weapons are cool. I like the idea of the hunting horn, and the insect glaive. But yeah, Gunlance also is pretty sick.
Switch Axe is my favorite and has been my go-to ever since I first started playing on Monster Hunter Tri back on the Wii.
That was the first Monster Hunter I was interested in, and just for some reason I never got around to like being like, Mom, Dad, can you please get me Monster Hunter Tri?
Red.
Yeah.
3 Ultimates on the 3DS.
Oh.
Yeah, you could do that too.
I could do that. You're right.
3 Ultimate also has Lagiacrus, who is my favorite Monster Hunter monster. He's a big crocodile boy, and he's my friend. And they never put him in anything ever again because the 3rd generation is the one with swimming, which they took out because everyone fucking hates it.
Yeah.
And he's a water guy. I post him in chat.
Is this the guy from the cover of Monster Hunter Tri? Yes.
Yes, he is.
This is a cool monster.
I love this fucking guy. Everyone wants him in things, and they never put him in things.
Because he swim.
Because he's a swimmy boy. This time
they should do the thing where you try to trap him on land, and then they can fight him. Because there we go.
Yeah, I got 2 more things, and I'll try to make it quick. But also I don't know.
I've accepted this is going to be a long episode.
Okay, fuck it. I'm not gonna, because honestly, actually, too, these are probably the two most important things I did want to talk about.
Oh.
So,
Lol.
yeah,
Wow.
I set myself up for victory there.
I ate dinner at 4 p.m. We're fine.
Okay, what
I've
time
not
is
had
it over
lunch
there?
yet.
It is 7 p.m.
Oh, damn. Okay, so, I watched my friend read through the recently released VN Kimi ga Nozomu Eien, otherwise known as Rumbling Hearts, which is not what that translates to, but is what the anime adaptation was called when it came out over here.
I see.
This is an Age visual novel, which is how I learned you're supposed to apparently pronounce that company name because it's short for Mirage.
Oh, I see.
Otherwise known as the creators of Muv Luv. And importantly, this VN was the one that not only took them, brought them, attention in Japan, this was their first, big hit, but also is one of the two VNs that precede Muv Luv that takes place in that same continuity.
Ooh, I see.
And characters from this show up in later Muv Luv stuff that I have not gotten to yet.
Oh, nice. What was it called? What was it called again?
Here, I will type it out, but it's Kimi ga Nozomu Eien. Which I believe is 2 Year Eternity or something like that. And Rumbling Hearts is the other name it's known by, but they're going with this title for the Steam release. I guess I should say, recently they released this on Steam. This company has been doing a pretty good job of trying to get digital remaster versions of all their old VNs out on Steam in English. And this was the latest one. They've been crowdfunding them piecemeal, it seems. But they put this one out, and there's a lot of people on the internet mad about it because they took out a bunch of eroge hentai shit that you frankly just don't need. But my friend Jake picked this up and started streaming it, known Muv Luv fan, and just avid visual novel reader in general. And he was just streaming it in our friend group, and I would say I was there for about 70% of it, which has put me in the funny situation where I feel as though I have read this and got my fill, but also I am missing some gaps. We had a really amazing time with this VN just as a group of friends, where it was kind of just a thing that was on in the background, and as it kept going, all of our attentions were just kind of turned to it and what it was doing, and we were just fully invested in the story. This is a romance visual novel, where there's a main character who is a nice high school boy in his last year of school. They're about to start doing exams to figure out, what universities they're applying to and stuff. He has a friend, and their names, I think her name's Hayase. And she's just this guy's really good friend, and she's like, "Hey, dude, you're a nice guy. You should start dating someone." So he asks out a popular girl at school by the name of Haruka, who is just the nicest lady. They have what I can only describe as an incredibly fast fairy tale romance where it's everything is perfect. They're having a wonderful time of things. He meets her family. Her parents love him. And along with their other friend Shinji, the four of them become just this really tight-knit group of great friends. He's still really good friends with Hayase, who was the one who was like, "Hey, you should start dating someone," or whatever, right? And maybe they're a little too close still, especially considering he just recently started a relationship, including when the friend group is out and about going shopping one day, they split up, and she goes, "Oh, it's my birthday soon, and I'm kind of sad because I don't really think I'm gonna get anything." And main character decides to go, "You know what a good gift is for my platonic best female friend?
Uh-huh.
A really nice ring."
Okay.
And it's
okay, bro. We need to right. Bro, we need to see you right. We need to talk to you.
Yeah.
About how this works.
So
first of all, that's gotta be, I don't know, maybe that seems.
They imply it's not cheap.
Yeah, I was gonna say. This seems a little much.
So that's like, I would say one of the best things I could say about this VN is it makes you fall in love with all of these people as like these are just outstanding like high school kids that are just trying to do the best in life and try to do right by their friends. And then they'll do something that's very questionable and you'll go, "Oh, buddy, no, what are you... No, don't say that. Don't do that right now. Oh, no."
Some people are still teenagers.
Yes. So anyways, after he buys his best platonic friend a ring, he decides that he needs to go to the train station to meet back up with his girlfriend. He then sees her get hit by a car.
What?
And she goes into a coma. This ruins all of their lives. We cut to 3 years later. None of them have gone to college. They've all given up on their dreams. He wakes up in bed with his best friend, who is now his new girlfriend.
I see.
And then they get a call. She's woken up from the coma.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
Things get messy really quickly.
That's what it's all about, baby.
And now he has to make a very important decision that no one is going to be happy with. It's incredible. Like, genuinely, this is one of the best VNs I've had the pleasure of experiencing secondhand, which is a funny way to say it, but I can't say I read it. I have not read it in full myself. I watched 70% of it streamed.
Even before she wakes up, the bitterness of knowing you were the second choice. Mwah.
Yes. And it gets complicated and messy, and the problem is that through the entirety of all of this, they all still really like each other, but also, at the end of the day, this guy is only gonna choose one of them to be in love with. And then this isn't even to mention that maybe the one other guy who's a part of their friend group maybe also has some deep feelings towards these other two female friends of his, and has some thoughts about their futures as well, and has some hopes for how the situation's going to play out. And it gets really messy in a way that is really touching and hard to stomach at times. There are points where my friend was advancing the text and we were all just going like like for like 30-minute spans of time. That being said, incredibly emotionally satisfying. A lot of really good heart-to-heart conversations in this thing. Like, genuinely, like, affected each of us emotionally in a way that I'd say, like, we got pretty close to, like, tearing up, if not outright tearing up. Also just fostered conversations in that friend group about life and relationships and past relationships in a way that was just really, like, I think, nice to have. And it was just cool to, like, all have, like, this weird communal experience going through this VN that none of us had really heard of before, and just all of us really resonating to it in ways that we weren't expecting, and just kind of bonding over it. Truly magical experience. I highly recommend you go.
How long is it?
Long. Like,
okay.
90-ish hours.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So here's the thing. Part of that, though, too, is because the game is broken up into 2 chapters, but then there's also a 3rd chapter, which there was a re-release sometime, I think it was like when Windows Vista came out. There was like a Vista edition that had epilogue chapters for all of the routes.
Make sure you get the Vista edition.
Yes. So those are also included. Keep in mind, too, there's more routes than just the main... there's the main 2 girls who are, like, the big 2 routes, and it's like, okay, who are you gonna pick? But then you also can be the worst person in the world and then date the little sister of the girl who woke up from the coma.
Naturally.
Let's go.
Also, you can there's also 2 nurses in the hospital that you can also have relationships with, and also your coworkers.
Let's go.
Yeah. All of those routes seem bad. They all seem like really weird excuses to have these, like, shock value, like either, like, we're just going off the deep end, like, Looney Tunes, like, we're doing something completely else now. One of those chapters stops being a romance and becomes about the main character getting kidnapped misery style and force femmed. And it's not good.
Oh.
What do you mean it's not good? You just described it to me. It sounded pretty good.
It's maybe not handled with the how you would maybe want it to based off that description. But the main two routes that the game is obviously trying to focus on, I think hit really hard in a way that I'm just like, this is some of the best writing I've seen come out of like this like romantic VN space that I've seen so far, which granted my experience is fairly limited, but also like this is the game that made that company take off for a reason. And I could see why it was a big deal. There's also an anime that by all accounts is apparently a pretty good adaptation. The main TV show version of it adapts like the best friend romance route. And then they made a follow-up OVA after, which is adapting the Coma girls route. So you can experience both of those that way as well. And apparently it's like, it cuts out a lot, but like a lot of the major beats are like done pretty well, and like you get the gist of what's happening. But like there is just a lot of day-to-day stuff in the VN for you to enjoy as well. So yeah, highly recommend Kimi ga Nozomu Eien. Fucking I want to read it myself, maybe with a little bit of remove, so it's not like I'm experiencing all the same stuff twice, basically. But outstanding writing. I then also finished Muv Luv Extra.
Oh, okay.
Which has characters from, actually one character, the little sister I talked about, of the woman who falls into the coma. Her little sister is just one of your classmates and a secondary character in Muv Luv Extra, Akane. And also you visit the same hospital, and like some of the same like staff are there and stuff like that too. It's all the same world. So I did the last 3 routes of like the kind of like more secondary characters you get in Muv Luv, because this game, and also too, something I should say about Muv Luv is that it's definitely playing off of assumptions that are kind of like people who are fans of Rumbling Hearts would go into Muv Luv with. Like they both have like, oh, there's like kind of like, I don't want to say manic pixie dream girl, but like larger than life personality, like kind of ridiculous how like fairy tale, like, you know, great this is, love interest, and then also the kind of rough around the edges but has your back childhood best friend love interest. And specifically Muv Luv Extra swaps who you'd think those are. The red-haired one in Rumbling Hearts is kind of the fairy tale one, and then the blue-haired one is your childhood friend, and then in Muv Luv Extra they swap those around, so it's the blue-haired one is the fairy tale one, like that sort of thing. There's also a really out-of-pocket joke in the first hour of Muv Luv Extra that you would have no way of picking up on if you hadn't played this game before, where you're walking to school with the red-haired girl, and she gets hit by a car and Team Rockets into space. And it's like, that maybe feels a little bit in poor taste, but it's also kind of funny. But yeah, I took a long break from doing the rest of Muv Luv Extra because I was dreading doing this girl's route.
Oh yeah,
I have to look at Discord.
She's
fun.
Yeah,
her. Yeah, because I'm like,
she's got a giant bell.
Yeah, she also looks like she is 10.
You're reading visual novels, Brad. Come on.
Yeah. The problem is that everyone else is, normal. So, at the very least, I'm happy to report that like her route is mostly just about helping her go through her performance anxiety when people watch her when she's participating in archery competitions. And it's not until like the very end where they're like, I think actually I love you. Let's be boyfriend, girlfriend.
I see.
So it's like, okay, the vibes are actually not that bad. and like I can live with this. There's another route where you date the class rep, who's like the classic like, yeah, like she's the head of the class, and she yells at people if they're not following the rules, and is really like a big stickler on making sure that everything's being done by the book. And she has a really good backstory. She's honestly one of the longer routes for like the 3 like non-main love interests. You meet her mom and like learn about her home life a little bit, and that gets juicy. Like kind of going off of what I've said before is like the main 2 routes of Muv Luv in a lot of ways were about like, hey, loving someone means that you kind of need to at some point accept people for who they are, and that includes their flaws. And you can't just expect people to change for you, because that's not what loving someone is. And these kind of follow in that footstep, like these routes kind of follow in that footsteps where, like in the archery, like the Miki, the girl I posted, when you're helping her get over her like stuff with like the archery competition, the main character gets like really invested in being like, we're gonna help you get over this, we're gonna help you get through this, and then at some point other people need to come in and be like, hey, at some point you need to let people deal with their problems on their own, or else they'll never actually improve, and you want them to be the one that does that for themselves. You don't want to actually fix your friend's problems in a way where they can't feel more confident and feel like they've actually achieved something. You need to know when to step back and trust in people to do it, and let them fail, which is part of that as well. And I thought that was really neat. The Chizuru route kind of has a similar thing going on, where it's a lot about like knowing when to intervene on someone, where it's like, hey, like you are doing things that are hurting you, and maybe you need to rethink how you're living life a little bit, but then also accepting too, like, there are some things that are just ingrained in people, like personality-wise from youth, and those aren't going to change, and like that's okay. And you can learn to like live with that, just like how they're going to learn to live with your weird hangups and hurdles in life and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I saved one route for last, because actually the last girl you choose to romance in this VN has an impact on the next game, like it carries over your save. And there's this mysterious, like, kind of delinquent girl who, she's not really a delinquent, but she just, like, she skips class all the time, and she always gets digs in, and she's just kind of quiet. And she was the one I was most interested in doing last, because I was like, okay, I think she seems cool. Let's see what, like, the elevated, like, position for the next game is with her. I otherwise would have picked the best friend character, but for story reasons, she's not, like... She's not like a character in the next one in the same way, it seems. Like she's mysteriously absent. So I was like, okay, well, if it's not her, I'm gonna pick this one. And her route is probably the worst of the bunch, and part of that is because it involves a past relationship with a grown-ass man working as a doctor. And instead of treating it as like, oh yeah, this dude's a creep, it's just like, yeah, this is your romantic rival. This grown-ass man with a career when you and her are in high school.
It's hilarious. That's...
the vibes are so bad. What are you gonna say?
No, I was just... I can't believe this was my go-to mental reference for this was the fucking second part of Sword Art Online.
I guess it does happen.
That's different. That's a little different though.
But yeah, it's the vibes are just bad, and like this whole thing could have been solved if one of the 2 like main characters in this route were just like, you're a creep, leave us alone, and not like, no, I'm gonna prove to you I'm the better man. I deserve her affection. There's a part where he's like, you don't understand, I'd leave my wife and kid to be with you, high school girl, and people are like, oh, he's that committed to her, and I'm like, no! It's the worst. But yeah, I did think it was funny how, like, the one that looks like a child actually, like, overall mostly normal route, and I'm just like, okay, like, her design is like that, but whatever, it's not creepy about it. And then the one I was most interested in ended up being where they put all the creepy stuff. So yeah. Overall, really like Muv Luv Extra. I actually genuinely just think this company has become my favorite VN company between this and what I experienced of Rumbling Hearts. I just think that they know how to pace their stuff so that you do get the day by day we're going through the calendar style of VN, but they don't waste your time like I feel like a lot of the other ones I've read in that style tend to. And get a little bit too lost in the day-to-day. This still has a lot of scenes where you're all hanging out around like a lunch table eating. And I just think that they're much more efficient with it. And overall, like, also genuinely too, I think I care about, like, the romance in this more than I do, say, like, I think Arcwade's a cool character. I don't really know how much I care about that as a love story. You know what I mean? Like, there's cool stuff there, but, like, I'm not as invested in, oh, I want Shiki and Arcwade to be happy together as I am in other parts of that story. And here, every time, like, you know, the romance hits, I'm just like, these two are perfect for each other. Which is, you know, I'm not like a big romance story guy, so, like, I think that's a testament to, like, they do the work to make you care in a way that I think is very effective. I'm 3 hours into Unlimited. I am deep in the mecha stuff. I have a theory about where that story is going that, judging by my friend's silence when I told him my theory, I think I nailed it. But that remains to be seen. I'll talk about Unlimited at a later date because I'm not that far in, and also we've gone on for a while. So
now we are at nearly 2 hours in.
Yes.
Shall we talk about Ultraman?
Definitely the longest preamble we've had in the history of this podcast.
Yes. To be honest, this has maybe fucked me, but we'll see.
Well,
it is nearly 8 p.m. Okay.
Well, we watched
Ultraman.
basically the same episode 3 times in a row, so maybe this will go quick.
Well, there are differences.
There are differences.
I think the middle one is more different.
Because we have 3 episodes about about how don't kill the kaiju. This will become a case of what in particular is the focus of this episode. So, episode 20 of Ultraman Taro is called Surprise! Kaiju Fell from the Sky, featuring Mother of Ultra and Mother and Child Bird Kaiju Rhydron. It's summer, and Kotaro takes Saori and Kenichi on vacation to a mountain village. The house they're staying at has an odd quirk. A mysterious woman called Osugi wanders the house absent of mind. She's weird, says one of the trio. That's my wife. Our son died when he was 5 and she has amnesia, says the owner. Oops, sorry.
Yep, that does that.
She's been making paper cranes ever since in hopes they'd bring her son back. Kids stay away from the house because they find her creepy. Anyway, festival. Summer is for fireworks. At the summer festival. From space, however, trouble is brewing. This little village has apparently staged a firework display so big that it looks like a Kamehameha from space, like when they cut to the planet in Dragon Ball. Mother and child bird kaiju Rhydron are flying past Earth, and the child mistakes these fireworks for a blooming flower and tries to skim the Earth's atmosphere to pick it. It instead gets hit by a barrage of fireworks and falls to the Earth, getting injured in the process. Unfortunately, Earth's gravity and atmosphere are too heavy and thick for Rhydron to fly in. For Rhydron to fly in. Wrong emphasis. For Rhydron to fly in. So the child is trapped on Earth, and the mother can't come down to rescue it. Instead, she uses her kaiju abilities to create storms to protect her child. Kotaro hears the cries of the child and is like, okay, this is a kaiju attack of some sort. All right, I'll put on my uniform that I brought with me and hung up in view of everyone as a reminder that we are never truly on vacation. And I'll call Zat and we'll kill the kaiju. Osugi, however, isn't having it. She says, "It's literally a child crying, dude. Why the fuck would you kill it?" She doesn't say it like that. She says it in a manner more in keeping with her ghostly vibe. Kotaro agrees to wait until morning, and when Zat arrives the next morning to track down the kaiju, Osugi is there once again, saying, I really mean it. Do not under any circumstances kill an innocent child. But she's actually like, ooh, you mustn't.
It is funny that the episode is like, she's the voice of reason, but for mental illness reasons about women, she's presented in like the really...
Yeah, it's really funny. Totaro's like, do not worry, we do not kill innocent children. The kaiju starts crying once more, and the mother whips up another storm. The kaiju is in distress and starts rampaging, coming close to a dam in the process. The lieutenant makes a reluctant decision and says, we gotta kill that innocent child, bro. All the jets get hit, and everyone has to eject. But Kotaro does an upside-down ejection to do his Shadow of the Colossus shit. He falls off.
Him falling out of the kaiju looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's great. He like falls off or something, I don't know, but he winds up on the ground and he finds Osugi with a child in the rain. And Osugi says, it's not dangerous. All children are adorable. And Kotaro turns into Taro and fights baby Rhydron. It's a big, muddy fight. It's pretty sick. And meanwhile, Osugi is stumbling through water, yelling, seriously, don't hurt, for the love of fucking God. I really mean it. Don't kill children.
Does she...
Mother... Yeah.
Does she pass out, or is she just putting her face in the dirt to sulk at the end? I couldn't tell. I rewound because I was like, did she...
I think it's despair. I think it's like overcome with the emotion of Taro is killing a child. Mother of Ultra has to step in, appears and says, Taro, don't kill innocent children. And Taro's like, of course. the fucking Drake gif. Yeah, he learns a quick life lesson about the love between mother and child and how sacred it is. Yeah. And then Taro cheats, heals Rhydron's injury, and then carries it to the upper atmosphere to leave it with the mother, and the two fly away to space. Later, Osugi welcomes Zat to the house, and everyone's like, yo, you're okay. And she's like, of course I'm okay. What are you talking about? Double miracle. The end.
Do I press the button? I wasn't sure about this episode.
So it's interesting, because...
I don't count the Ultraman beams.
The Ultraman beams don't count.
I wasn't sure if the wife counted.
So it's a psychological, because this isn't, so what we tend to do a medical miracle for is there is like some kind of physical problem. There is a disability in the episode. Like we've got a child who has like an old leg injury and he limps. We have like a child in a wheelchair. And this disability is healed by overcoming the psychological problem.
Yeah, I don't know if this one counts.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if this one counts.
This is strictly psychological.
Now, I don't know that getting like a resolved character arc would fix my amnesia if I had amnesia. I don't think that's how amnesia works. But
listen. This is a Japanese storytelling staple, as many anime and video games can attest.
But it's not quite the same thing as our usual medical miracle. So on this occasion, we are not going to push the button.
Okay.
It saves me editing. We got an episode about how the kaiju is just a poor innocent creature, and don't just kill it just because it's an inconvenience to humanity.
Yeah,
and
it's just trying to do things and live, and like it causes problems just by existing.
Yeah.
Almost like some kind of tiger that needs to explode.
Almost like some kind of tiger that needs to explode. The exploding tiger
is just going to be a benchmark forever.
The exploding tiger is like the funniest possible version of this. You're so human centric for like not letting this tiger explode in the middle of time.
This ghost will scold you. Because
You
she wants to keep the peace between the humans and the tiger that keeps wanting to explode in the middle of their cities.
Why does it want to explode there? It's its favorite place to explode, mate. You shouldn't have built your city there. I'm really sorry about this. What about all those other cities it explodes in? It's coincidence. It really likes to blow up in cities. But yes, I quite like this episode, mostly because I really enjoyed the atmosphere of the weird kind of ghostly, how the paper cranes and stuff, and the just torrential downpour of rain. The storms are good.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I think like my one takeaway from this episode is I liked it actually quite a lot, but this entire time I was thinking like I feel like this would have been actually just stronger if it was just like a mentally sound normal mother.
Yeah.
I don't know if we needed the whole thing of like, oh, but you don't understand, she cares because her own child recently died, and she walks around in a way that makes her seem like she's been lobotomized. Like it's
like it feels like a gave her a mental illness in a misogynistic way while simultaneously making her the voice of reason.
Yeah,
yes,
and like it's perfectly normal for someone to just be like, hey, like I'm a mother, I know how this monster feels. Like no, don't do it, and like that would have been totally fine.
On the other hand, I like this weird Shakespearean madness. I quite enjoy the actual like not I quite enjoy the general sort of tone of it when when it's a little amusing that when she speaks it is like completely coherent point of like, hey, don't it's clearly suffering, don't kill it. And it's treated as though this is like weird, like ghostly,
Yeah.
sort of strange wisdom. But I do enjoy when she's kind of like wandering around the house, like with the paper cranes and stuff. And it's a really funny. It's kind of a weird opening scene where they're having like a really nice chat, and then Osugi comes in, and the trio just kind of sit there awkwardly until Osugi walks off, and then they're like, okay, what the fuck's going on with that?
Yeah.
Is everything okay?
The ghostly wailing wind sound effect is really strong too.
Mm-hmm. Now, this episode is not the episode this week with the best the kaiju flies away into space. Which people can't say.
Yeah.
But it's at the beginning of this week I was like, it's a nice change of pace. Obviously Taro, we've had more of these, to get an episode where like Taro saves the kaiju and sends the kaiju on their way.
It felt like these were the episodes that were being written around the time that the internal decision was made not to kill innocent kaiju.
Oh, you're so right.
Everyone walked away. Right. Everyone walked away from that meeting with the same idea.
Oh my god, you're right. That's exactly what's happened.
Now in the universe, it's like
3 weeks in a row.
Yeah. Taro's just like, but when Ultraman is here, he killed all the Boltons, and then the new guy rocks it was like, I'm not them. I'm Saladin.
I am Saladin. I am not those Ultramen. Hang on just a second. Okay, I'm good.
Okay.
Where were we?
Before Saladin,
Oh yes, I am not those Ultramen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does feel like a strong internal course correction to the degree of like you could have differentiated these episodes.
Yes,
this one's good. I like the birds.
This is my second favorite of the batch.
I think this is my second favorite.
Okay. All right. Now, Mel, we have to guess what Brad's favorite is of the other two. Is it the one with the boss you killed a child? Like with the shooting the teddy bear in the head.
I think it might be.
Okay. I'm gonna go with that guess for Brad's favorite of the week.
Should I reveal it now or later?
You can reveal it later.
Yes.
That's what we're gonna go with for now.
Can you guess which one's my favorite?
Your favorite, I think, is.
You're always talking about how much you adore cicadas.
Yeah.
This isn't.
You're the number. You obviously you're not quite on Shuichi level, but you're the number 2 cicada fan.
I'm the of this podcast. I'm the biggest fan of Higurashi when they cry.
Yeah. There you go.
Mel's always like, God, I just wish I could be like a Viridian City bug catcher trainer with a Weedle.
Weedle isn't even a cicada Pokemon.
Oh, I was thinking Kakuna. Fuck.
Damn, you got fucking.
That's also not a cicada Pokemon.
Yeah, I don't know what a cicada Pokemon is. I
don't know anything about bugs. Pokemon, but you know what I do? I keep my mouth shut.
There's a Nincada, which grows up into Ninjask, which is an adult. Cicada. And if you have an empty slot in your party, then you also get Shedinja.
Yes. Then you get shit. Yeah. Pokemon used to be so cool.
Damn.
You know, when I was a child.
Yeah.
When you were a child, Pokemon was good.
When I was a child who mistook fireworks for flowers.
Yeah, children do that all the time.
I do kind of like how this problem first occurs because the child's a little stupid.
Yeah. I am just like, why are the fireworks that big that you can see from space?
You can see them from space!
I think that's a problem for the environment.
This isn't an episode about how we have intruded on nature. There's just a weird coincidence and then a bad response. And this will come up in a couple of episodes. I'm a big Zap fan. I like Zap a lot.
That's pretty good.
I think they're good.
I think they're
weirdly competent. Yeah.
They're probably the most competent team we've had. Except for maybe the Ultra Guard.
It's like the thing. I was thinking about this. I was thinking about maybe the Ultra Guard's a little more competent, but no. That's Soga is putting in way too much work.
I think Ultra Guard.
I think tries to steal Dan's Riz and gets electrocuted for it.
I think Ultra Guard is competent derogatory.
Oh, true.
They're no Zaraba of all territory.
Damn. Yeah, they're not having fun. They're not laughing while they net a giant cicada.
Yeah.
What else is going on in this episode? I simply quite like the direction of it.
I like the husband
just like
throwing the drinks up in the air to hug his wife. It's good.
Oh yeah, right at the end.
I like how muddy it gets. We kind of talked about this.
It's such a muddy, wet fight. I love the fights in Taro so much. Yeah, it's fucking. Taro fights have been good. I don't know what exactly they've turned up. Maybe they've just turned up the messiness of it, because this is like Jamila levels of this is just damp. I
think maybe I have to imagine the stuff of it also is just we need to make the fights as exciting as possible to compete with what else is on there, because that is part of their vision statement, is they wanted the show to be an exciting one.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I do just think Taro has had I'm not generally really super enthused about watching an Ultraman fight necessarily. Taro, I've been yes, I love it when he comes into the screen from the top of the frame and kicks the kaiju in the head.
I feel like there's an episode where he like transformed and then kick upwards into the kaiju's head. I forget if this is which batch.
Yeah, there's also that one where he does like the ground slide. He does like a sliding dash thing. Taro's fun.
Yeah.
Do we have anything more to say about this episode other than who made it?
I got
it. Was I just have the trivia.
Yeah, who made it? Go for it.
It was directed by newcomer Masataka Yamamoto, who
did a good job.
Yeah, and also I could not find any. I couldn't find any info on, but it was hard, and also he shares the name with who I believe is a completely different person, like accomplished like piano player. So I was not finding info on this guy. And then written by Toshiro Ishido.
Special effects director is a name we're familiar with, weirdly enough, for different reasons. It's Eizo Yamagiwa.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Cult man.
Yeah.
Getting into special effects.
Our goat.
Also, did you notice anything different about Saori this episode?
Wait. Huh? Is she a different actor?
Yes. At some point after episode 16, Mayumi Asaka, the previous actress, left, and starting with the episode, they replaced her with KK Ono for the rest of the show.
That's where she went. Saori kind of turned up in the beginning of this episode. I was like, is that Saori? I don't know if that's Saori. But then I was like, I guess that is Saori. I just haven't seen her in forever. But no, Saori had short hair. So, okay. Yeah, I guess they got a new actor.
If you want a reason, I fucking don't have one because I couldn't find any.
Let's go.
Well,
presumably it's just like scheduling stuff because that just seems to be the way things are.
Classic.
Also, flying right on Zanbe Yosho Suzuki. Obviously, they only made a suit for the child, but they also made puppets and stuff for the mom. And of course, you have like the life-size tummy for Kotaro to flop onto.
Oh, I see. Yes. Nice. Do we have anything more? Go for it. Go for it.
That's 5 episodes in a row with a school bus.
Yes, the school bus stays. Who knows when the school bus will go away?
I mean, it did. We'll get to it.
I mean, it has to eventually, or else they're not going to get to school on time.
Yeah.
Do we want to move on to episode 21?
Yes.
Okay, The Sinking of Tokyo Newtown, featuring Cicada Kaiju King Zemura. It's summer, and Kotaro is taking Kenichi to an old haunt of his to catch cicadas, but there's nothing. What's happened? Well, this is Musashino.
His old cicada spot, the urban sprawl.
It didn't used to be an urban sprawl, so this is Musashino, a newly built concrete wasteland, a phrase which hurt my poor commie fingers to type. There are no cicadas here. There's a cry coming from a manhole, though. Before they can investigate, the two get ridiculed by a classmate of Kenichi's named Shoichi. There are no cicadas in Musashino, and these ones I have here are ones I bought at the shop. Kotaro
he spends like about 2 minutes talking about how cool the supermarket is and he can buy animals there.
Yeah. Kotaro has grown since his days on the Scandinavia, because that Kotaro would have punched this kid immediately. He's so mad about the idea of buying bugs instead of catching them. He's like, that's not bug collecting. What are you talking about? But he lets Kenichi do it. He lets Kenichi buy some cicadas anyway. Just, there's no other way. Saori is less enthusiastic about having cicadas in the house and sprays some dead, which upsets Kenichi and Kotaro.
They just spend money on those, and it is kind of fucked up.
Yeah. Shoichi is having similar problems with his mother, who is complaining that the cicadas cry is making the baby cry. Shoichi, #1 bug expert and, like, bug romantic, is like, but they wait so long underground and they only get a week up here to breed. Doesn't that make their cries precious? And I'm like, kid, if the racket is about breeding, maybe you should let him out of the cage.
He's like,
they're not doing much breeding in there.
He says, like, I cannot control how the Higurashi when they cry.
Exactly. Zat discuss the relationship between Tokyo and nature, and they are interrupted by crisis. There is an earthquake in Musashino. When Zat arrives, Shoichi's mother tells Kotaro that Shoichi returned to the apartment building to save his cicadas in the middle of the evacuation. Kotaro is like, Shoichi? The #1 bug expert? And his mum's like, yeah, sure, listen, he's gonna fucking die. And Kotaro promises to rescue him. Kotaro finds Shoichi and his fucking cicadas, and together they see in the rubble a giant kaiju. It attacks.
Specifically, it's like a red eye, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm a fan. It attacks, but the two make it out safely. Kotaro is like, there's a kaiju under the apartment complex, and Shuichi says, no, there isn't. It's a giant cicada. It's stuck under, listeners, you can't see this, but I'm doing the glasses adjusting motion. It's stuck under the concrete. It's grown huge from being stuck underground. It's like the revenge of cicadas. Zat initiate Operation Peel Away to unearth the giant cicada. Shoichi pleads with Zat to let it live. It will only live for a week anyway. Kotaro agrees. It's just a gentle cicada. Let's catch it with a net instead.
Should be noted that like we get a cool scene of like the baby molting into an adult.
Yes,
and it's fucking sick. I was like, oh man, I love special effects. I wish they were real.
I wish.
True.
Yeah.
I wish cicadas were real.
Yeah.
The lieutenant orders Operation Net. They catch the cicada in a giant net and leave it where it is with a watch to keep an eye on it. Overnight, the giant cicada makes such a racket that the locals come out of their apartments and tell Zat to get rid of it, and Zat says, well, no, wait a week and it will go away. The residents of Musashino aren't having that, so it's it's pitchforks and torches. What order do you say torches and pitchforks in?
I think that one.
Okay.
But
both
also,
sound wrong.
I love that just we cut back to them and the mob just suddenly all have flaming torches. It's so fucking funny.
Just produce them. They pull. What happens? They have those in their inventory and they pull them out.
Yeah, like just immediately, no delay. They're just like, we're burning this thing.
Yeah.
And then it backfires in the funniest way.
It does. It's like it's I'm a genius. Oh no! It's so they enrage the cicada and it bursts out of the net. And then the cicada turns around and attacks them with this like weird foam, and the residents are like, "Oh, didn't mean for that to happen." The cicada flies off and parks on top of Tokyo Tower. This turns all the TV into like English rice cooking advice for some reason. It specifically is food has to be made tasty and easily digestible, and this is the main reason why rice is polished before cooking. I think you mean washed. I don't think we're polishing rice before cooking. I don't think that's true. The residents of Tokyo say the residents of Musashino couldn't put up with a little noise for a week. This is all due to their selfishness. Now, Mr. Policeman, I want to watch TV, so could you shoot that kaiju? The kaiju is shot, and it attacks the residents of Tokyo with a flamethrower. Oh no!
I adore how he shoots it. It starts to go up in the air, and they're like, oh yeah, look, he's flying away. And then it turns around, and they go, oh fuck.
Stops in the air, it swivels.
A lot of finding out this episode.
Yeah, the Zat lieutenant is so stressed. He gives the order, we have to fight the cicada kaiju. It's killing people now. But here comes Shoichi. Please don't hurt a gentle cicada. Kotaro has to rescue Shoichi from the flames and turns into Taro afterwards. Taro signals Kenichi to rescue Shoichi and then gets stuck into the fight. Somehow Shoichi's cicadas are okay, despite all the rubble and flames. At the end of the fight, Taro doesn't kill the cicada. He flies the cicada to space. And I'm like, I don't think cicadas survive in space. And the narrator says, au contraire, it became a space cicada.
Yes.
Thank you, narrator.
He's worth thinking, Taro does rip off this guy's mouth first.
It does, yes. Yes. Kotaro takes Kenichi and Shoichi to the woods somewhere to catch cicadas the proper way. The end.
Absolutely ridiculous episode.
It's really funny.
It's fantastic.
I think Kotaro does like a jump into being Taro kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like how friendly Taro is with the cicada after immediately tearing off its mouth, and then he's like, "No, don't kill it." And he's like, "You're right, I won't kill it."
Now, I think so. This is where we begin with like all these episodes are the same. It is not just that he spares them all. It's that someone comes and says, "Taro, be kind," and Taro gives them a very decisive nod, and then is kind and generous to the kaiju.
It's
the same nod every time.
In the middle of the fight.
We always need to have the fight, too, because that's what the children signed up for to watch when they turned the TV onto the show, is they need to see Ultraman fighting the thing. So there still has to be some combat.
Maybe if they want, they should write an episode where there's a kaiju that sucks. Maybe they should write about a kaiju that Taro needs to fight.
Well, they did it last week.
They did do that. It's just weird that it's 3 episodes in a row.
I do at least how this one. So like the last one is more of like a hazard because like the mother's causing like storms and like that's actually like a problem and like could harm people. This is just fucking annoying.
And this one,
it's the epitome of kaiju as an inconvenience that must be killed for that reason.
Yes, I do. I like it because it then ties into the fact that it's like, you know, cicadas are annoying. It's the whole there are no cicadas in Musashino, and it's like this is a weird kind of I don't know, it's not fun to think about, but this is not. I see a lot less bugs these days. It's not nice to think about that. But it's that kind of thing that we're tying into with the episode as like, and like it's not that I like having to interact with bugs. It's not that I like bugs getting into my house and like spooking me, but also, you know, probably shouldn't wipe them out. I don't, you know.
Yeah.
And the it's the idea of like one giant cicada waking up like multiple apartment complexes is so good. It's so funny.
There's a lot of really good effects besides just the really sick molting. Like you get like the ground cracking is really good with the buildings opening up, and we also get like a pretty decent green screen of like the tilted apartment building.
Yes, I did note that, yeah.
I really like like that ground cracking. I love how like it's like the building collapses and then around it you just see this giant fucking cicada in the ground. It's a really good shot.
Yeah.
Despite my character assassination of Shoichi in this episode, he's fine.
Yeah.
If it sounded like I wanted to smack this kid in the summary, don't worry about it.
It is funny the degree to which like people are dying. He's like, no, don't kill it.
It's a gentle cicada. Flamethrowers everywhere.
Yeah.
It just wants to explode in the middle of Tokyo. It's fine.
I think it is cool when the cicada like lands on Tokyo Tower and like starts accidentally hacking the networks.
It's if it also that combined with the like silk shooting, I don't know if that's I don't know enough about cicadas to but I'm assuming silk. Yeah, but like it shoots out like a weird like goopy residue silk thing or whatever at them. And I was
just keep describing it, make it worse.
But that whole sequence of like this is like a Mothra throwback, right? Because it's also like on the tower and stuff like that. So I was like, that's fun.
Yeah.
I didn't watch Mothra, unfortunately.
Well, you should watch Mothra. You should. I think that'd be one of them.
It's just so badly.
Brad and I were going to watch like the next movie before we took our after Ace break, and then things have just happened, so we haven't been able to get back to it.
Oh yeah, what the fuck were we supposed to watch?
I think it's Gorath next.
We need to watch.
It's Gorath and then Ghidorah.
I Mesoforce
Gorath and didn't like it.
No. Oh wait, no. Gorath was the planet. Dagora is the next one. It's fine. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And also there's a Forte.
Yeah.
The scene where it's Kotaro and one of the other Zat guys is like just going like shh, shush, you'll wake everyone up to the cicada. I was a big fan.
Yeah.
What is kind of
I do think sometimes it's funny when you can see like the ways in which they do not have the film to remaster some of this footage, or like the ability, like when they are in the forest at the end, it's just like the most SD shot possible, like
this is
like 1440p.
That might be like a
1440p sounds pretty good.
No. I was thinking like a
144.
144, yes.
Yeah, that might be like I don't know. I shouldn't even talk. I shouldn't Ishinotani film quality.
I do think when they're like doing composite shots, like one is overlaid over the other, that's when they start like having a bit more difficulty doing that stuff.
Makes sense.
But still, it is very noticeable.
This one was also directed by Masataka Yamamoto, and then
he's doing a good job
by Shigemitsu Taguchi. Yeah.
Yeah,
so at the start of this episode, yeah.
And the special effects director was also Eizo Yamakiba.
There we go.
He's also doing a good job. Yeah, we'll allow it.
Yeah. Also, while I'm at it, Yoshi Suzuki once again on the Kaiju Hill.
Cool.
And yeah,
there's like some fun shots of the town. Just like emphasizing the complete like stark like just concreteness of everything.
Yeah,
that's good.
It is that is a thing that I'm surprised these shows haven't. I feel like a lot of the time when we're doing the more nature centric ones, a lot of the times it tends to be like, oh, we're going on a little weekend picnic getaway to like the nearby like nature area, or like, oh, we're visiting so-and-so's relatives out in this small town. And like every now and again, but like I wish more often we get these like, oh, when I was a kid, all of this was just like, woodland.
That's definitely a prevalent thing, and we see in like other stuff, but not as much in this show. I think like the only other time I can remember is just like as a throwaway line at the end of the fucking Planet Number 4 episode of Ultraman 7, where they just talk about like, yeah, it used to be cloudy, and now we're just gonna detect the weather for some reason. Why is it cloudy?
Oh yeah, do the fortune with the sandal.
Yeah, I don't remember if it's ever come up again. Other cases of it being like the urban development. If it is, it's probably an episode we just forgot about. Like I feel like there had to be like some episodes of it.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that people don't really want to hear as like a problem for
especially because they don't want to dig deeper, and we're like, oh wait a minute, it's not the ideology of the enemies that's doing it, it's our ideology.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
This we need to make our cities so cool that the filmmakers of the other side will come and film futuristic highway scenes in their prestige movies.
Exactly.
Solaris is a good movie.
I should read Solaris and then
You should also do
that. Do we have anything more to say about this episode?
No, I have a 30-minute time limit roughly.
Oh, fuck.
Okay.
For the last one.
Okay. Why was I the one watching the clock then? Okay.
This
episode
went crazy.
This is a recent development. I did not know this before we started recording. So
okay. Episode 22, Wrath of the Kaiju with Cub. That's what the title is. That's just what featuring Kangaroo Kaiju, Pandra, and Chinpei. Is it Chinpei?
Yes.
I think it's Chinpei. It's summer, and Kotaro arrives at the wedding of a friend of his, Fujinami, to a woman called Yuko. Kotaro doesn't appear to have actually been at the ceremony, and he declines to go to the reception, so it's difficult to say that he's attended the wedding.
He was there for the hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah, he's just waited outside the church for 5 minutes. Scandinavian behavior. There's
You're speaking from experience there.
Yeah. There's one thing about Fujina. I'm simply referring to any time he's a little bit the guy he played in that one episode of Ace. I'm gonna call it Scandinavian behavior, because that's what the ship was. The ship was called Scandinavia. There's one thing about Fujinami that Yuko just kind of didn't know at all. He's a hunter. As in, he wants to go to Africa one day and shoot lions. And Yuko's like,
how do you
no,
date throw someone and get married to them and not know this about them?
No, he's got animal heads up in his house.
Has she just never been to his house?
It's never been. Catholicism. That's okay. Sorry, there was a dog whining outside the door. Where am I?
Did your dog whine at the mention of Catholicism? That's amazing.
Yeah, clearly. He wants to get in. That's can't. Where am I? Shut up. The new couple goes for a walk around the mountains and see a kaiju. They flee, but Yuko slips, and in some of the best thrown doll content I've ever seen, she falls down the mountain.
It's really good.
This is incredible. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. When Fujinami gets down to where Yuko's weird floppy doll body should be, she's gone. He concludes that she's been eaten by the kaiju. Fujinami enlists Kotaro and 2 hunting buddies of his in the search for Yuko, and he insists that should not be involved. He wants to avenge his wife himself. While the others stalk around with their rifles, Kotaro, actually experienced with kaiju, finds the kaiju nest on his own immediately. Yuko's there. She's fine. This
is the difference between veteran versus newcomer Monster Hunter players.
True.
True.
The 3 bozos are the guy who wastes all the lives.
Exactly. Yuko's there. She's fine. In fact, she was helped by the kaiju, both of them. Pandra's just chilling, and Chinpei pops out of the marsupial pocket to wave hello. Chinpei uses herbs and weird gunk to heal Yuko. Well, this is great, says Kotaro. Everything's sorted then. Everything's fine. Well, Pandra heads out to get food, and Fujinami and his boys...
how immediately clear it is as soon as Kotaro's like, "Oh, where's Pandra then?" And she's like, "Oh, she must have stepped out," and then just cut to walking around. I'm like, "Oh, I immediately know where this is going. This is hilarious."
Fujinami and his boys spot Pandra. They blow off a portion of her tail and follow the blood trail. When Pandra gets back, which is yellow. When Pandra gets back, Kotaro cuts out the bullet and at no point stops to consider who might have shot Pandra. He's like, all right, we gotta get Yuko back to Fujinami then.
He half considered it, but also...
Yuko says she's going nowhere, not until the kaiju heals. They took care of her, so she will take care of them. All right, says Kotaro, sounds fine. Fujinami does not think that sounds fine. He has his boys tie Kotaro up. If Yuko's alive, then he will rescue her from the kaiju. Fujinami and Ko follow the blood trail to the cave and see the baby Chinpei first. They catch Chinpei in a bear trap and then roll a rock down the hill to trap Pandra by the tail. Fujinami from the top of the cliff yells some shit about, "Ha, now you sit helpless and listen to the suffering of your loved one," and then shoots Chinpei in the head. Yuko arrives and is horrified, and Fujinami's like, "What's the matter? I'm here to save the day." Pandra escapes the rock and burns Fujinami's friends alive, and Fujinami's like, "I would like to apologize. The goal of my content is always to entertain." He pulls out a ukulele.
I'm a little boy. It's my birthday.
I'm just a little guy. It's my birthday. It's my honeymoon. I'm just a little guy. Kotaro calls in Zap. Zat do their thing to try to contain Pandra, and see Zat are just cool. I fuck with Zat. Also, the lieutenant's mustache is finally growing in. It's not enough, however, and Kotaro turns into Taro. Taro wins the fight, and then we go Kurosawa mode. Taro cheats once again and heals both kaiju. The kaiju apparently returned to the underground world of kaiju. Hollow Earth confirmed.
Yes.
And
just like
Zat seals
the Monsterverse.
and Zat seals the cave behind them. Fujinami quits hunting, calling it human egotism, and dumping his rifle into a lake. Yuko is delighted. Zat looks over the view from the mountain. The lieutenant says to Kotaro that he's had like a fucking weird summer break. And Kotaro's like, huh? Oh, right, summer, yeah. This was a summer episode. The end.
Yeah.
One random note that just came to mind because you mentioned it, and I don't think I thought about it when watching it at the time, but I don't like that they go back to the Hollow World at the end. I think it's a lot more powerful if they stay right where they were the whole time.
This was the thing that nagged me. Is just like the solution is to banish them to the underground where they'll be quote unquote safe. It feels like not different from like space. They're safe in space, and it seems like the problem is they can't be safe on Earth, so it is to remove them to somewhere where they will be safe, which is kind of like I mean there's bleak ideologies that follow this, but I won't go there. But there's definitely like there's definitely some cases of like, oh, we want to free these people from harm by putting them somewhere else. And that's not good.
The solution to overhunting a population of animals, or isn't to move them to the deer caverns. It's you got to learn to live alongside in peaceful harmony with one another, and have that tension there of, oh, maybe one will overexert on the other in ways that are, rough, but we got to learn how to live with it and exist in a balance here. And instead it's just like, no, you're going underground now, and we'll never have to deal with this problem ever again, and everyone can forget about it.
Job done. Goodbye. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Everyone go home.
Because otherwise, I fucking love this episode. This is probably my favorite episode of the show.
They kill that little guy.
Yeah. You know what? Props.
Boss, you killed a child. Amazing. Mission complete. That right there is why you're the best, boss. The one and only.
It's great. Like, this is everything I want about, like, the tensions of, like, how does humanity contend with, like, living in the shadow of something greater than themselves, as we develop and, like, take more of the earth for our own, purposes. And, just the assumption being made of, oh, she's gone, there's a big thing roaming around, it ate her, time to fucking shoot this thing's tail off and kill its child.
The specifics of... Because the way that this episode differs from the other is that the other episode is about, like, the other episodes are about kaijus being problems that humanity have to live with.
Yeah.
This episode is not about that. The kaiju are not a problem at all. The kaiju helped Yuko.
Surprisingly good medicine.
Yeah.
Good, yeah. Good. They've got a medical practice. The problem here is one man's absolute deranged. The problem is specifically the big game hunting mentality. Because, like, Yuko being alive does not change anything. He's like, I'm gonna hunt this big creature.
Yeah, because, like,
it's just I just got that once. I want it.
There's clearly a point where machismo is superseding, like, the actual goals, the quote unquote goals, because it's clear, like, Kotaro says she's fine, she's alive, and she was helped by the kaiju, and she likes the kaiju, and he's like, no, you're lying. We're gonna tie you up. And then
I've been plucked by kaiju.
And then when actually confronted with his wife himself, he's like, I'm going to ignore you and kill this kaiju anyway, because I will quote-unquote rescue you, because I want to kill it.
Yeah, dude, regardless of the fact that you're clearly safe right now in front of me, you're up here and they're down there, I still have to save you by killing a child. It is really funny how quickly he pivots from I will never need to, I will never apologize for anything. And then, both of his friends get burned alive, and he's like, I've seen the error of my ways, I really have.
Yeah. Actually, wait,
Him tossing the rifle into the lake is so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Slittering.
Hopefully the Raygon don't get it.
No, true.
Oh my god. Powerful rifles too.
I
Flew off a kaiju's tail.
Scene that will always live rent free in my head is June taking the music box out to the cliff and then tossing it into the water, and then the Raygon does not dive after it, and the look on his face of,
oh no,
ah, fuck, I really thought that would work. So good.
Is there medical miracle this episode or no?
My dog was whining outside my door. I had to let him in. Everyone say hello to my dog, Eric.
Hello, Eric.
Hello, Eric.
He's not my dog. He's my family's dog, but
So
hello,
here's
Eric.
the thing. I don't know if this counts as a medical miracle because Ultraman defeating something was not what prompted it. I think that's important to the...
Okay, yeah.
I see. The actual healing of Yuko.
We did have the turtle mother who was just alive, but also that wasn't prompted by like a healing thing, so I guess this doesn't count either.
We have to post the clip of her falling off the cliff like as soon as possible.
It's pretty good.
I had to pause I watched this episode because when your parents are around, it's weirdly difficult to just fucking do anything.
Yeah.
I had to go into town and watch these episodes in like a cafe. I had to put a lot of effort into not bursting out laughing at that bit. It took a lot out of me. It was great. Love that.
This is...
What else is happening in this episode? I'll go for it.
I completely lost my train of thought now, but no, I think this is a good degree of violence used for narrative weight and not just for the sake of going, fuck it, don't this look cool? You really feel this thing's pain.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think they do a good job of that.
This is probably the most violent Taro episode we've had, except maybe I don't know. We've had some weirdly Taro's like all in on like gross stuff, and here it gets played for
I feel like there
the
is some
pity for the kaiju,
but nothing beyond the usual.
Oh, there was the one kaiju eating another.
Oh yeah. That happened twice, but one was Vord, one was like dismembering it.
Yeah, that was good. I was a fan of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely fantastic. The like blood and the guts of like the shot tail, and then the crushed tail, and then the child in a bear trap, and then shooting, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I approve.
Yeah.
I approve of the killing of the oversized teddy bear. It was very silly.
Yeah.
Who made this episode?
This episode was made by Masanori Kake, directed it, and then written by Kiyoshi Ohara, who I can't confirm this, but I'm going to assume is a pseudonym because this is the only credit this person has on anything, ever.
Okay, theory. The first two episodes were written by the same guy, right?
No.
Huh? Oh.
Toshiro Ishido was the first one, and Shigemitsu Taguchi was the second one. They were both directed by Masataka Yamamoto. Directed by the same guy, written by a different...
I think the writer is one of the other two, and is just like embarrassed that they wrote the same plot again.
That'd be funny.
Special effects director is Takashi Ohira. Both kaiju are designed by Yoshi Suzuki, and Shinpei has a second suit actor, which is Metsu Suichi Ose.
Nice. All right, sick. What else do we have? Do we have anything more to say about this episode? We might be on a bit of a time limit.
I do think it's
now.
funny the hunters get owned, but yeah, I think we ran through about everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have time for emails?
I should hope so, because we have left these for like weeks.
Yeah, Brad was like.
I think I have like 10 minutes ish.
Okay, can we like blitz the emails?
Yeah, I can do these. Let me get the timers first. I'll leave the run back for next week.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 20, 3 minutes 48 seconds. Mother of Ultra, 20 seconds. Episode 21, 2 minutes 23 seconds. Episode 22, 2 minutes 28 seconds. No, wait. Episode 21 is 23 seconds. Whatever. 2 minutes 23 seconds for episode 21. 2 minutes 28 seconds for episode 22. Also, we got school bus in the second episode, but not in the last episode, so that's a total of 6. And I think we're free.
6 school buses. All right. Emails.
Okay. First one's from Aaron. Hey all.
Hello.
Half of this is for Arc, so I'll save that for Arc. Oops, I should have looked this earlier.
Oops.
My apologies. We should have looked at it last week. It's fine.
That's all right.
We have another Arc episode coming this month, so it's fine. Hey all. Checking back in after a few weeks. Work really picked up, so I've been blasting the Ultraman shows recently. Plus, I'm a big Halloween guy, so I've been watching more horror-themed stuff this month. I did make it to The Ultraman, the anime, and so I wanted to answer some questions you posed about that. So far, no real issues with the subtitles. They aren't the best, but they aren't so bad that you can't deal with them. I remember a while ago, Brad ran into issues with the YouTube versions of one of the shows having awful subs, and he had to switch. As someone who also had the issue, it's nothing like that. FYI, I moved from YouTube to Shout TV, which is a big improvement. I will ask how you feel when the show is done, because I heard that the end of the show is worse.
I believe the exact thing that we ran across with Mirror Man was that the first half of the show, or like honestly the first 3/4 of the show, the subs were okay, and then they fell immediately straight off a cliff for the final quarter of the show, and it was terrible. It was terrible. Muv Man. And it's the same people that it's Toku Subs is
Toku HD is a streaming service, and they're bad.
Yeah, so it's those same subs. So
do get back to us.
That's kind of what we expect from the Ultraman, just from like reports of those subs being bad,
and also some screenshots.
So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell because it's like, we're in extremely the weird gray zone where it sure has been acknowledged by official licensors that this is an issue.
It's a problem.
Yeah, but also the new Blu-rays aren't out in Japan yet, and obviously if it's been like a month since the official people have gotten heard of it, it's not like there's gonna be traction for a while. So what we do is tricky.
Mm-hmm.
But we still got like 6 months to figure that out. Now for Taro stuff. Looks like you guys should be covering the Bird-on trilogy and Taro when you get to this. Nope, that was last week. So here's some timely observations. I quite like the arc of these episodes, but Bird-on, why? Even coming to full trilogy episodes with the space and time to develop a big-time antagonist kaiju, the show refuses to go there. So it's basically just another kaiju is cred in the show for killing the Ultras, like Zedon with the no other info, like Zedon. Yeah, I think it's fair. It's
this is fair. Yeah,
just like a kaiju who rocks up and kills, and there's no build-up or anything.
There's like a little. There's like at the very least, there's like the kind of interlocking plot with like the threat, the whole threat to like Japan. There's like a like the involvement of like the meat shortages and stuff. I think is like fun, but yeah, it's not like the kaiju itself has like loads of character or anything.
No, I'm not at this point. I'm not really expecting it from anything that showed up here.
Yeah. Otherwise, though, an unenjoyable trilogy which further confuses everything about the already confusing birth-death cycle of Ultras. It makes no sense to waste the brain power to try and screw all this stuff. Just enjoy the ride on my Ultra school bus. I'm going to skip the part about Arc, which is about episodes we just covered. Here's a question. Top 3 all-time Ultra Kaiju. They played the...
the fucking, for me, the like crystal, I don't know, maybe Bolton, the hearts.
Bolton's cool. Prisma's cool.
Vacuumon, maybe
Kodaigon.
Yeah, for me it's Kanegon, Vacuumon, and maybe Hot Dog Metron.
Oh, I forgot about Ultra Q. Yeah. Balloonga
is sick.
Balloonga's sick.
There we go. We listed off a bunch of kaiju we think are sick. Pick
Marucci.
any 3 from those.
Total.
Marucci. All right.
One day we'll do a bracket. We won't do a bracket. They were just saying they played Monster Hunter Rancher game. It's not really kind of a game, but they did enjoy the kaiju. They really neg it on Birdon, but they do like Garamon, Kanagon, and Gavadon as their top 3 with an honorable mention, Dinosaur Tank. And I will mark this episode so I can go back to it when we cover Arc next.
Okay.
Thank you for email.
Thank you for email.
And
Next email.
Send in again if you finish the Ultraman and tell us how those steps go. And finally, here's Mothra Fanboy. With a...
Hello, Mothra Fanboy.
This one was for number 5th. Anyway, first half of Ultra 7. Hello, Ultra Q. I hope you're not being bullied and that you haven't fallen into the unbalanced zone. Anyway, I finished the first half of Ultra 7, and I was planning to finish the show before writing in, but the show is so fucking good that I need to write 23 episodes in.
That's fair.
The last episode, they saw a search for Naro, which I think was the guy who was being hunted down for being a psychic guy episode.
Yeah.
Alien Shadow. That was pretty fun. I don't think it's like one of the hot peak episodes, but it's a fun one. I think the moral of that
now that you are halfway into Ultra 7, it is there's a degree to which it's like there's a couple of misses, but it's kind of bangers all the way to the end.
Yeah. I think the moral of that episode was like don't predict aliens if you're psychic.
Yes.
Oh yes, yeah, that was the one with the episode. So if you're an Esper, whatever you do, don't predict alien invasions. As though the prediction makes the aliens invade.
I miss the narrator. That's what we're missing. I miss the narrator's shitty advice at the end. Like was it that fucking Ultra Q episode where it's like, if you encounter a dangerous monster, simply find its weakness and be better than it or something.
Just always remember, find the monster, find the kaiju's weakness.
Yeah.
I'm running away. What are you talking about? I'm not Jun.
Anyway, Ultra 7 is a great show that deserves the respect that it gets. It was an incredible decision to have every episode feature aliens, my favorite being Alien Pegasa. That's a good choice. That's my favorite too. Pegasa also has the best episode so far. Metron's pretty good.
That's the Metron episode, though.
Those are like the peak of the first half for sure. I think.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, as of Ultra 7, there hasn't been a bad 6th episode. Now something contentious. In Ultra Q, we had Garoppolo Turtle. Nothing you said there. I think.
Yeah.
I think we have disagreements there. In episode Ultraman 66, we had the Coast Guard Command, which wasn't as good as the last episode 6, but still pretty good. Oh no! Wait, no, I misread this. They said there has as of Ultra 7, there hasn't been a bad 6th episode. So they're saying every 6th episode has been good, including the turtle one. Okay, so we're good. We're good.
Yeah, Turtle one, we're on board. Beginning of Ultra, I don't remember. I basically remember.
I think this one was like the
Bolton
one,
episode.
I think this is the one where there was the chocolate kaiju and also for some reason a criminal.
There was true.
And then Ultra 7 has the Dark Zone, which
Yes.
Also,
true.
Can't wait for the next chapter in the Shoji Otoma saga. Yeah. At some point he just kind of stops appearing, I think. But I think, we still get stuff of him in our Ultra 7 season.
We get in our digs at him, is what happens.
Yeah. Finally, I've decided to do this for every show when I watch it. Yep, it's the return of the Ultra Pet store. This time, to catch up, which Ultraman 66 monster would you want as pet? Still kaiju-sized, you can't choose.
A kaiju-sized
Pet
from Ultra 7. From Ultraman.
Yeah.
Gavadon.
That's easy, yeah.
Oh, Gavadon's a good pick. I'm having... I know what my answer would be for Ultra 7, but it's not. We'll wait. I don't know about Ultraman. We've got the pets. The pet situation's not great other than Gavadon. I think that might be my pick as well. I will adopt and support Bolton.
I
Picking Jamila, making you a
feel
comfortable
like
usage, it's the implications.
I feel like this. Yeah, I was about to say. I feel like this opens up moral implications that are going to cause issues.
This is all very true. All very true. However,
Bolton Jr.'s going to come and be like, "Give me my dad back."
Here's the other thing about adopting a Bolton. Ultraman will turn up and wreck my house.
True.
He'll be like, "Where's that fucking Bolton?" What's...
It's like, I know you're hiding them in there.
The beginning of Inglourious Bastards.
You look out your window and you just see a giant foot and ankle.
Christoph Waltz Ultraman.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, they said their cheating answer was Pigmon because they like the noises they make when they get squished.
It's the squishing's good. The squish is very good.
It's pretty funny.
Anyway, thank you, Mothra Fanboy, for your email.
Yes,
thank you, Mothra Fanboy, for your email. This episode's fucking over.
Yeah.
If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at @Ultra_Q. That is at @Ultra_QUEUE. On Blue Sky, we are at @UltraQUEUE. No underscore over there. Mel.
Hi. First of all, I just want to make some important announcements.
Okay.
One, the next ARC episode should be like start of December. Just a note for people.
Mm-hmm.
Also, for you two, you should use the alternative subs for episode 24 next week for my bit.
Okay. Oh, okay. Could you supply me with those again? Because I've had to... my situation is different at the minute.
You can use a YouTube playlist if that's more convenient for you.
Okay. So long as you can point me to where to find that, that is fine. It
would be in some sort of pinned comment in the Discord server.
Good. I will do that. Thank you very much. I wonder what this could be about.
In maybe a few years, we'll find out.
Yeah, maybe we'll. At the moment, I don't know. At the moment, I don't know jack about it.
I was about to say, I'm real jacked to find out the answer to this.
So, Brad. Oh no, Mel, you haven't done your plugs yet.
Oh yeah, I forgot that part. At Your Crowns, Twitter, and Blue Sky. You can send an email ultrapod@gmail.com, and we have the coffee UltraQ Fund.
Brad.
I'm everywhere at Be Invoked. That's BEINVOKED. That's without a space on Blue Sky. Underscore on Twitter between the B and the Invoked. There are people in my driveway. I gotta go.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Everyone go home. Fuck off.
Yeah, later.
ウルトラ父の教え子